Good evening. I will call to order the first regularly scheduled Temecula City Council meeting, January 14th, 2025. I am your Mayor, Brendan Kalfas. We will start the meeting off with our invocation by Chaplain Mazie Themba of Riverside County Sheriff's Office. And then I will lead you all in the flag salute. So if everyone could please stand.
Let us pray. Almighty Lord of all, as we gather at the start of this new year, we pause to seek your presence, your guidance, and your blessings over this meeting and the work ahead. We thank you for the privilege of living in this vibrant and thriving community, and we are grateful for the dedicated leaders who serve on this council. Lord, we lift up the shared vision of this council, a vision to improve the lives and safety of every resident in Temecula. We ask that you guide their hearts and minds as they deliberate on the decisions that will shape the future of this city. Grant them, dear Lord, wisdom to discern what is best, courage to pursue what is right, and unity to work together for the common good. We pray, dear Lord, for the safety and well-being of all who call Temecula home. Protect our neighbors, strengthen our families, and bless our first responders who stand ready to serve in times of need. May this city continue to be a place of opportunity, a place of peace and hope, where all people can flourish and thrive. As this council begins its work in the new year, may they be inspired by a spirit of service, a spirit of humility and collaboration. Help them, dear Lord, to lead with integrity, always striving to build a stronger and safer Temecula for future generations. We entrust this meeting, this council, and this city to your care. May your light shine brightly in all that we do. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Everyone can place their right hand over their hearts and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Alexander?
Here.
Mayor Kalfas?
Here.
Councilmember Ron?
Here.
Councilmember Schwank?
Here.
Councilmember Stewart?
Here. We're going to start this meeting off with a few presentations. The first one will be between us up here on the dais, and I will present Mayor Stu of 2024, the outgoing plaque for your mayor. Stu, it was a pleasure to be your right-hand man last year. Thank you very much.
And it's now my honor to present the mayoral gavel to our current mayor.
All right, next up, we have the outgoing plaque for President Schwank of our TCSD. And since he is our president again this year, we have a new gavel for him. All right. Next up, we'll have our presentation of certificate, recognizing a few of our commissioners that have retired. We'll be recognizing Eric Ackerman, Eric Faulkner, Gary Oddie, and Adam Ruiz tonight.
And
Madam City Clerk, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, while you're walking down to the podium, we'll ask our retiring commission members that are here, Eric Faulkner, Gary Oddie, and Adam Ruiz. I know Mr. Ackerman couldn't make it tonight. If you could join us at the podium, we'll go ahead and read the certificate. The City of Temecula Certificate of Appreciation is presented on behalf of the City of Temecula to each of these individuals. We would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere appreciation for your public service on your respective commissions. We are grateful for your contributions of time, talent, and commitment. Thank you for your involvement and dedication to the citizens of the City of Temecula, and we wish you well on your future endeavors. Thank you again for your service. It looks like we have 2 of the commissioners here. The other commissioners will be mailed their certificates. Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
We would love to hear a few words from you if you want to start us off.
Well, let me start and be clear. I got 20 minutes, right? No. First of all, I didn't know Adam and Eric and Gary were going to be heading off into the pasture as well. Such a great time to be honored with such prestigious commissioners who've done a great job for our city. So thank you for what you do and what you've done as well. Good evening to the greatest staff in any city. I want to say thank you for what you do and what you've done to support us on the Ready Commission. To the City Council, Mayor, congratulations again. And good evening, everyone else. As my time on Temecula Ready Commission comes to a close, I want to take a moment to reflect and express my heartfelt gratitude. Serving on the commission has been one of the most meaningful and humbling experiences of my life, and it has been an honor to work alongside such passionate and dedicated individuals. Our mission has always been clear: to foster a more inclusive and equitable community where everyone feels they belong and has the opportunity to thrive. Together, we've taken important steps towards that goal, whether through open dialogues, community events, proclamation presentations, or meaningful policy recommendations. While there is still work to be done, I am proud to be a part of the foundation we built and the progress we've made. To my fellow commissioners, thank you for your collaboration, your courage, and your unwavering commitment to this important work. You've inspired me with your ideas, your dedication, and your ability to listen and lead with compassion for all Temecula residents. City Council, thank you for trusting me to serve the City of Temecula in this capacity. Resident stories, feedback, and advocacy have been a constant reminder of why this work matters. It is through our collective effort, each voice, each conversation, that we build a stronger, more united community. Now, there are some voices that have attempted to divide us over this commission with no facts to support their baseless claims, stoking fear which has been unfounded and unsubstantiated. As I step away from this role, my commitment to support the residents through an equity, diversity, and inclusive lens remains as strong as ever. I will continue to champion these principles and support the ongoing work of this commission and our community. I believe deeply in Temecula's potential to be a model of inclusion and progress, and I look forward to seeing the incredible strides that will continue to be made. Before I close, I want to take the time to thank and appreciate the staff, and specifically would like to call out Legislative Director and City Clerk Randy Joel, Deputy City Clerk Erica Ramirez, and Management Analyst Naomi Frontella for their amazing work and support. They're amazing professionals who are motivated about the work they do, and they do it well. I want to call out my commissioners: Crystal Pastorian, Adam Eventoff, Denise Wilson, Jackie Steed, Stacia Deutsch, I always mess up her name, so I can take the beat up later, Lyman Letgers, and all the members of the past members that have served on this commission. So with that being said, as I close, thank you for the opportunity to serve, to learn, and to grow with all of you. It has been an honor. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I probably should have gone first. I didn't have any prepared remarks, and making me look bad here, Eric. No, I too just want to say thank you. You know, I started on the Community Services Commission, the Fund Commission, as it's often referred to, and the amount of work and effort that goes into providing services for the city, as we see a lot on the Community Services Commission, was absolutely amazing to see all the work that goes into it. Staff was always tremendous in getting everything done and prepared for us. Moving over to Planning Commission, I remember being told you're going to be busy, and we were always busy. But I will forever appreciate the opportunity to drive around town and walk around town and know that I had a part in some of the developments and some of the projects that are here in town. So for that, I will forever be grateful. I do also want to thank the council for entrusting me the opportunity to serve. The staff, I've said it numerous times, we usually say it almost at every single meeting. It's absolutely been an honor to work with you guys. The Temecula way goes into staff, goes to everything else that we do. And honestly, I could not have been the commissioner that I was without the support of the staff and the work that you guys put into it as well. So I definitely appreciate that. I'm not going anywhere. I might be coming off the commission officially here, but you're going to still hopefully see me around, and I look forward to continuing to watch the good work that Temecula does. So thank you again for this opportunity.
I'm sure my council colleagues may have a few words, but I'll start us off. This is directed to both of you. I've only worked with you for a short 2 years here, but I've had long conversations with both of you. I've appreciated the work that you've put in. The work does not go unnoticed, but like you said, I know you're not going far. It's been an honor to work with you, and I look forward to working together more in the future. So thank you. Any of my colleagues have any comments?
I just wanted to say thank you to the both of you for your time and service. I know it takes a lot of dedication, but it's definitely worth it, and we see the fruit from it. So I just want to thank the both of you for all your effort.
And I've been here for 8 years now, and I've got to see both of you guys work for a very long time. And people don't realize what these commissions actually do for the city council. You know, you're literally our hands and feet. You know, the Ready Commission is literally at every single opening of anything. It could be a ribbon cutting for a business or a park. It could be an event that, you know, the city puts on. There's almost always someone from the Ready Commission at that event. So I appreciate what you guys do there. And what's it called again?
Planning Commission?
Planning Commission is also our hands and feet. I mean, talk about doing the hard work for us. I mean, you guys get charged with things that and you actually can make full-on decisions that move forward. So that takes a lot of pressure off of us up here. So what you guys do at planning is incredible, and I am slightly forgetful, but thank you for what you've done for us too also. So thank you.
I'll go ahead and go. I just want to say thanks to you both. You both are sincerely just model commissioners, like everything, the way that you interact with staff, the way that you interact with the public. You're certainly going to be missed. You lifted a lot of heavy projects. You did a lot of good work in the time that you were both here. And I know, you know, you're both certainly not going anywhere. And you're part of this community, and whether you're on a commission or not, I know you're going to contribute, not to the community just at large, but to the city as well. So thank you both for everything that you've done for the city and for what you'll continue to do for the city. Thanks.
Well, our commissioners have and always will represent the best of Temecula. The incredibly talented people who live and work here, and you guys contributed quite a bit to making Temecula the amazing place it is. So thank you for that. You know, make sure that you reach out to your neighbors and friends and encourage them to participate in this as well. I know it was enriching for your lives, and you know, I know it's a great opportunity for us to be able to grow this community together. So thank you for your service in this community, and that idea of service before self. Really, I know you all believe in that very deeply, and can't thank you enough for the work you've done for us.
Thank you very much. If my council colleagues want to come join me, we can get a group photo down here.
We have one more important presentation, And we'd love to have current Planning Commissioner Lene Turley-Trejo come on up to the podium to receive her 10-year service pin. Our city attorney, Peter Thorson, we are postponing his recognition till the next council meeting, but today we would like to recognize Commissioner Turley-Trejo.
Well, Lene, like our Madam City Clerk here read, yes, there's a pin in there somewhere. There it is. 10 years. Thank you very much. We know you're not going anywhere, and you're still here on our Planning Commission, so we'll see you very soon. I'm not going to try to pin it on you. That'll take too long.
Awesome.
But we would love to hear a few words from you.
Oh, okay. I'll make it really brief because I'm not retiring. 10 years has gone pretty fast. Right, Randy? It's gone really fast. And when I first came on, it was such a learning curve. I had no planning experience at all, and was pretty scary. But it's been so interesting and so kind of life-changing for me to be on Planning Commission. I've really, really appreciated working with Luke. He's the one I've worked with the most, and now with Matt. And the whole community development staff, planning, they're amazing. And every applicant that comes is always so complimentary of the staff. And as commissioners, we are too. They help us so much with any questions that we have. So I never felt dumb. I just felt like I was learning. And I'm excited to continue and hopefully make a difference in this community. I feel like the decisions that we've made as planning commissioners have been really important, especially recently. And I'm grateful for that, for having a part in that. And I especially want to thank my husband, who's here tonight. There's always somebody supporting you, right, behind the scenes, who doesn't complain when I'm here till 10 or 11 or 12 o'clock at night sometimes, and also city meetings every week. So I'm grateful to him. And I want to thank all of the staff, Ron, Erica, everybody who helped so much, and especially Aaron, being our chief guy, who kind of trickles down. So I'm so grateful for each one of you. Thank you. Oh, I'm going to show my pen. Okay. Is that weird? Okay. Thank you.
Congratulations again. All right, we will move on to our board and commission reports. First up is Community Services Commission, Chair Hawks.
Happy New Year, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Dr. Yuan Hawks. I am honored to serve as the newly elected chair of the commission. Our commission has 5 commissioners: Ernie Castro, myself, Jeff Kingsburg, Cassie Sizemore, and our newest commissioner, LaSalle DeGrave. We are an advisory commission focused on topics related to parks and recreation services. Last night, we held our first meeting of the year. We began the meeting with Tracy Masters leading a special recognition of our contract instructors. They have contributed immensely to our community, with some teaching for as long as 26 years. We are deeply grateful for their dedication and the positive impact on our residents. In sports news, we are excited to announce the kickoff of the 2025 Winter-Spring Adult League seasons. This marks the beginning of another year of athletic competition and community engagement. Our special events division had a successful holiday season. One of the key highlights was the 30th anniversary friendship ceremony, where we welcomed a delegation from our sister city, Daisen, Japan. A special thank you to council members Du and Schrank and city manager Adams for your participation. To end the year with a bang, we had our very first drone show at the New Year's Eve grape drop, lighting up the sky with a happy 2025 message. It was an incredible moment to ring in the new year. Finally, I am excited to announce that in addition to welcoming Commissioner DeGrave, we also held our annual election. I was honored to be elected as chair, with Cassie Sizemore serving as vice chair. In addition, we held an in-depth discussion about various requests for sports facility usage from several local groups. Our meeting lasted for about 2.5 hours. Our next meeting will take place on February 10th, 2025. Now, I'd like to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to our immediate past chair, Jeff Kingsburg, for his exemplary leadership, his dedication to the commission, and his contributions. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from my colleagues?
Just congratulations. That's it.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your part.
We'll move on to our Traffic Safety Commission, Chair Maddox.
All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and neighbors. It's good to be with you all tonight. Your Traffic Safety Commission meets on the fourth Thursday of each month to review traffic safety education, engineering, and enforcement. And one quick note, as we transition into the new year, we will officially welcome our newest commissioner, Mr. Larry Slesser, when he's sworn in next week. But for now, we look back at our December 19th meeting for our first item. We approved our prior action minutes. Next, we reviewed an all-way stop controls analysis at the intersection of La Serena and Calle Medusa. So this is currently part of a detour route for the Nicholas Road Extension Project, but the traffic team was able to pull historical data from our city's streetlight data subscription service. We did find a few safety concerns. A primary among them is an inadequate sight distance when making the left turn from Calle Medusa east onto La Serena Way. There was also one reported accident in the past 3 years, and the intersection does factor into school area traffic circulation, with Rancho Elementary being located just down the hill. So for all these reasons, staff and commission is recommending the installation of new stop signs and updated striping, and that recommendation advances with unanimous support to the council for final review and approval. All right, next we received an update on part of a larger road rehabilitation project that's going to be happening just outside of city limits on Papa Road, where the county is bringing the privately owned segment of the road up to county standard. The commission's focus is on the west end of the project at the intersection of Via Del Monte, where the city does have partial ownership of the right-of-way there and where we were able to provide comment. The city requested that the crosswalk design be brought up to the new city standard, meaning high visibility, continental style striping, to create some visual friction around the crosswalk there. The county has accepted that request. Board of Supervisors voted to approve the project in its entirety, and construction should begin in March. And although our jurisdiction ends at that intersection of Via Del Monte, I think it bears mentioning that the larger project is going to involve an extensive regrading of the road, a brand new protected equestrian trail, which is going to link up to the city's existing trail network, as well as culverts for stormwater management and other safety improvements. All of which are going to benefit Temecula residents as much as they benefit Wine Country residents. So, of course, our thanks to Supervisor Chuck Washington for his advocacy on this project. On that note, that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? We'll be moving on to our public safety report by our Temecula Fire Chief Crater.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff, and Temecula residents. I'm just going to give you some numbers from last year, what the fire department ran. We ran a total of 10,576 calls in the city. Fire prevention with inspections, plan checks, and was 11,844. And our TCC volunteered 338 hours to the city with training, disaster relief, and other things they do. Next slide. I want to talk to you guys about the current fires in LA, and I know there's been some concerns about, Temecula being protected. I want to give you some answers to that. But first of all, I want to thank our Temecula firefighters responding not only to the Palisade fire, but the Eaton fire, and making a difference in people's lives, saving life and property. As you can see in the video, they got there when the fire was actively burning through homes. They made a stand on several homes. They put their lives on the line. And I think, everybody's been sending me a lot of emails thanking our firefighters for what they do. And I'll tell you what, they're in the right place. They did get there. They did save lives and property. And they'll continue to be there for another week. As you can see in one of the photos right here where it says, "Thank you, Temecula firefighters," that's the Getty Center. That's our downtown Engine 12 protecting the Getty Center during the fires. Pretty amazing picture, and it's a testament to us supporting our partners in LA. Even though they're in LA, they're still our neighbors, and we care about them truly. So I'll give you some stats on the Eaton fire. We sent 25 engines to the Eaton fire out of Riverside County, 10 of them being state and mixed with county brush engines. We sent 3 strike teams of Type 1 fire engines, which is 15 engines. Our Temecula engine 73 is there, and then Riverside County 83 out of my division is there. They're still helping residents, however that is, searching for belongings in their house, standing up, propping up the community the best they can. On the Palisades fire out of this county, we sent 10 Type 1 engines to that, and 2 strike teams of hand crews, water tenders, and our engine 95 and engine 12 are currently there. During this time, the city was covered. The next day, that night, with our cooperative agreement, Riverside County Fire Department, all our stations were covered, which is amazing. We were able to cover all of our reserve engines in the county and hold all our staff on to ensure that our community was safe. And I can tell you this, the city of Temecula is well protected. And in the county, the fire chief has contingency engines on standby in case we have new fires. We've had about 6 fires today in the county, and they didn't get over 2 acres. So they're smashing fires everywhere. We're dumping all our resources on new fires, new starts in the county. Another thing that kind of gets missed, we look at the engines and we look at what's gone or what we're sending. Out of Riverside County alone, we've sent over 75 personnel to support both fires, to stand up our incident management teams, knowing that this is going to be a long-term incident. And we're proud to say that we stand with Pasadena, Altadena, Malibu, the Palisades. Sorry. It's kind of, yeah. So many people lost so much, Our firefighters were saving other people's houses, and were burning down. That's the commitment we have. So just say a prayer for our folks as they're out to, still taking care of other people, and know that they're here to protect the citizens of Temecula, and we appreciate all the support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. And I know I speak on behalf of all my colleagues when we are very appreciative of everything that you've done for our city and continue to do. And it was important to note that even though we sent engines out to other cities, we still are fully staffed here and protected. So we appreciate all the work that you continuously do for us. Any of my colleagues have any comments as well?
Yeah, I have a question. So you said there were 6 fires that were here in Riverside County. Do we know how they start? I mean, is this arson that's taking place? How are these fires getting started?
Most fires are human-caused,
Yeah.
one way or the other, whether
Okay.
it's neglect or arson. Equipment malfunctions. We have arson investigators that investigate these fires. Unfortunately, I can't really talk about them until, they've completed their reviews and do what they do behind the scenes to either bring somebody to justice or count that fire as natural caused.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief. All right, we'll move on to public comments on non-agenda items. And as this is the first meeting of the year, just a brief reminder that all comments from the public on non-agenda items, if you can please direct them through the mayor as pursuant to our council policy. Hopefully that is the only time I have to make that note, but we will see throughout the year. Madam City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we actually have 6 public comments tonight. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Additional rules are printed on the agenda. The first speaker is, I believe, Donald Shoemaker. It could be Ronald Shoemaker, to be followed by Joseph Austin.
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, city officials, and fellow citizens, my name is Donald Shoemaker, and I reside in the city's 3rd District. My wife, Mary, and I moved to Temecula last year after living in our Long Beach home for 54 years. During those 54 years, I served as a pastor of 2 congregations in Long Beach and Seal Beach and taught theology at Biola University. I also served for 23 years as chaplain for the Seal Beach Police Department. We feel very welcomed in our new community. In fact, yesterday I was welcomed by getting a jury duty summons in the mail. It didn't take long. Anyway, as part of our settling into the good life of this city, I want to address the council this evening to emphasize that January 16 is Religious Freedom Day in America. Each year since 1993, the President has issued a proclamation on the importance of religious liberty and designated January 16 as Religious Freedom Day. Last year's proclamation said this: "The constitutional right to practice our faith peacefully and openly is a core tenet of our democracy and helps us fulfill one of our highest aspirations as a nation, to be a citadel of liberty and a beacon of freedom. Everyone must be free to practice their faith without fear, whether they are gathering for worship, attending a religious school, participating in the activities of faith-based organizations, or simply walking down the street wearing the symbols of their faith," end quote. Sadly, it is not always safe in some places in today's America to wear symbols or words expressing one's faith. Anti-Semitism has broken out on many campuses. Even in a country as free and tolerant as ours, the jungle of religious oppression is never far away. Therefore, vigilance to uphold religious freedom remains our constant duty. As we celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday tomorrow, let's remember that his principal stands based on religious beliefs led to his untimely death. American history has had its religious intolerance, but overall, our country has embraced a unique tradition of religious liberty that has prevented religious domination, conflict, and persecution, and nurtured an environment where religion has flourished, where people have been left free to choose which faith they shall live by, or none at all. I urge the citizens of Temecula and the leaders of this city and our local educators to make religious freedom a keystone of our civic life and experiences, and of our thinking and teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. The next speaker is Joseph Austin, to be followed by Marshall Hamilton.
Hello, my name is Joseph Austin, and first and foremost, I'd like to thank the CAL FIRE for their hard work and dedication, risking their lives in the fires across Southern California. Also, I'd like to explain ahead of time, I'd like for the investigators to keep what I'm about to say in mind. Today, I'm bringing forth another problem that I've noticed based off of facts that have surfaced. Recently, we have had fires plague the LA County area, and thousands of people have lost their homes. And 2 months prior to these fires, home insurance companies have stopped covering fire damage. Just as audio insurance companies send you to a janky mechanic that uses junkyard parts because they don't want to pay for things going wrong, though we pay for them in their policies. And as a Southern Californian who does not have a house but just gets by with bare minimum, and is happy with it, I speak up for those that have houses that are at risk of losing their hard-earned place of rest. Because of all the fires arising, I know that insurance companies are run by multi-million-dollar CEOs that choose to destroy our cities to upgrade to smart cities, which is a 2028 project. Also planning the forcing of microchips on us via United States of Corporations codes, allowing corporate companies to force their employees to abide by the forceful nature, denying rights to deny based off of state laws which are separate from corporate law. The microchip and biometric scanning for payments. And without getting our consent, they destroy cities and play like they care by asking for aid that they do not intend on actually putting forth to the cause of aid. They are going to put forth towards rebuilding for their technology and creating a smart and city and surveillance city such as Fremont, California. I know that this doesn't have anything directly to do with Temecula, but it can be our city because the fires can affect these areas and the winds can spread them. And knowing that there was a song by the band called Bad Religion over 20 years ago entitled Los Angeles is Burning, I believe wholeheartedly that these fires were planned, so I urge the public to speak up against cancellation of policies, keeping the rich CEOs held accountable. Thank you. Have a nice night.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. The next speaker is Marshall Hamilton, to be followed by Mark Sitar.
Good evening, City Council. Cool. My name is Marshall Hamilton. I'm the Interim Executive Director for the Safe Family Justice Centers. Joining me tonight is our Temecula Site Supervisor, Aiko Nicole, who works closely with our Police Activities League, or our PAL program. We're here to celebrate National Mentoring Month and highlight the transformative impact of mentorship through our PAL program. The PAL program has been a cornerstone of youth mentorship here in the Temecula Valley for 20 years. What makes this especially significant is that the Southwest Sheriff Station that helped establish PAL 20 years ago in this region, laying the foundation for what is now Riverside County PAL with over 5 law enforcement agencies involved across the county. Today, this program continues to thrive, connecting youth ages 5 to 17 with caring mentors who inspire, guide, and support their growth at no cost to them or their families. PAL is about more than just mentorship. It's about exposure and opportunity and access. Through this program, youth have visited local museums, attractions, sporting events. They went to Sacramento, Washington, D.C., and cultural landmarks. These experiences introduce young people to new possibilities and broaden their understanding of the world around them and their place in it. But there's still a critical need for mentorship. Roughly 1 in 3 young people grow up without an identified mentor, a gap that leaves millions without a supportive adult to encourage their potential or guide them through life's challenges. This mentoring gap highlights the urgent need for programs like PAL, especially with dedicated mentors like our law enforcement partners. The impact of closing this gap is profound. Research shows that mentored youth are 55% more likely to enroll in college, 78% more likely to volunteer in their communities, 46% less likely to use drugs, 52% less likely to skip a day of school, and 81% more likely to participate in extracurricular activities. 60% of young adults live within 10 miles of where they grew up. 8 in 10 live within 100 miles. That means that the investments we make in mentoring local youth have a lasting impact in this community. These numbers are more than just statistics. They're a testament to the power of mentorship. PAL transforms lives, turning young people into leaders, role models, and agents of change in their community. If you'd like to learn more about our PAL program, Aiko and I are going to stay here and to connect with those folks. Or our website mentions our PAL program as well for Safe Family Justice Centers. As we celebrate National Mentoring Month, I invite you to reflect on the mentors that you've had in your life, the individuals that you are mentoring today. And I want to thank Temecula Valley and the Temecula City Council for supporting our PAL program over the last 20 years. We're now impacting about 137 youth in the county. 1/3 of that is here in Temecula. Together, we can create and continue to bridge the mentoring gap and create a brighter future for our youth in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. The next speaker is Mark Sitar, to be followed by Jillian Larson.
Good evening, council members and Mr. Mayor. My name is Mark Sitar. I'm chairman of the Temecula Community Christmas Dinner that we have on Christmas Day. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. This is our 30th year of having this Christmas dinner. The dinner is sponsored by the Temecula Sunrise Rotary Club, which I am a member of, along with the Rotary Club, the Noon Rotary Club, and the Evening Old Town Temecula Rotary Club. We'd like to thank the City Council for its continued support of the dinner. This year we served approximately 900 meals on Christmas Day, with 288 of those meals being delivered to seniors that couldn't get out to our venue. We'd especially like to thank Councilman Stewart and Councilman Schwenk. I know Stu delivered some meals to some of the seniors. Zach's been there a few years ago. I remember seeing him. If I missed anybody, if you've been there, I'm sorry about that. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I see a lot of people, but I want to thank you all so very much for coming out. We'd also like to thank MSJC and our team of more than 100 community volunteers that come and make this dinner happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sitar. The next speaker is Jillian Larson, to be followed by our last speaker, Jackie Steed.
Good evening, Temecula's 2025 Honorable Mayor, City Council, Commissioners, and City staff. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our new mayor, Mayor Kalfas, and congratulate you on becoming what I believe is Temecula's first homegrown mayor. Correct me if I'm not right. What an exciting milestone for you and Temecula. I'm also happy to welcome back Council Member Ron. Your presence has been missed, and it's wonderful to have you back. My husband and I have had the privilege of calling Temecula home for 22 years. This is our 19th and final move, and after much thought, we chose Temecula for all that it offers. Over the years, I've watched the city councils make decisions that reflect both the needs of their constituents and the greater good of Temecula as a whole. We've seen changes in districting, and not all decisions were made for the benefit of the entire city. It's evident to me that the City Council, alongside city staff and all of our city commissions, have worked tirelessly to shape Temecula into the shining jewel in Temecula Valley. I'm deeply appreciative of the work our fire and police departments do every day to ensure the safety of our community, as well as the finance department for their role in safeguarding Temecula's fiscal health, and to all the other departments that keep our city thriving and vibrant. A heartfelt thanks to all those, past and present, who have been involved with our residents, encouraging, creating, and leading the way with innovative programs, city planning, organizing events, and envisioning the future of this city for the diversity of our population. Your contributions have been key to making Temecula the wonderful place it is, and I look forward to the future we will continue to build together. Additionally, I would like to express my gratitude to the 4 retiring commissioners, Eric Ackerman, Eric Faulkner, Gary Ardi, and Adam Ruiz. Your service to our community has not gone unnoticed, and your dedication is appreciated. While we face challenges over the past several years, I'm confident that with good governance and a renewed commitment to following the city's master plan, the shine of our city will return even brighter than before. And just as the stunning drone lights over City Hall on New Year's Eve so powerfully said, goodbye 2024, and here's to a brighter 2025. Thank you all again for all of your hard work and dedication to our great city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Larson. And the last speaker is Jackie Steed.
Good evening, mayors, city council members, and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here on behalf of Habitat for Humanity Inland Valley, and I want to share a bit about the work we do. We provide pathways to home ownership, preserving homes through repairs, offering financial education, and operating our restores, which directly support our mission to build strength and stability through shelter. I'm also here to invite you to a special event honoring the extraordinary legacy of President Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind. Their volunteerism has transformed communities worldwide and inspired countless individuals to serve. Please join us on Friday, January the 24th at 9 a.m. at Habitat for Humanity Inland Valley Design Center located at 28410 Vincent Moraga Drive in Temecula. At the event, you'll have the chance to sign a symbolic door representing how the Carter's efforts opened doors for thousands of families to build or renovate homes since 1984. The event will also feature an open forum to share reflections on their lasting impact, and RSVPs can be sent to casey@habitativ.org. President Carter and Rosalind are truly embedded in the DNA of Habitat for Humanity. Thanks to their leadership, nearly 5,000 families became homeowners, and their work continues to inspire all of us. We'd be honored to have you celebrate with us. Thank you for your time and your support.
Thank you, Ms. Steed. Mr. Mayor, that concludes all public comments on non-agendized items.
All right, thanks to all the public speakers. We'll move on to city council reports. I know my colleagues have some reports tonight. Would anyone like to go first?
I'll go.
All right.
All right, so I do want to piggyback on the New Year's Eve celebration that we had here at City Hall. It was spectacular. I mean, thank you, Zach, for suggesting the drone show. That was over the top, and for my last mayoral event, it was spectacular. It was like you threw me a party, so thank you, Zach.
It was all for you, Stu.
Exactly, all right. So yeah, next year, I'm sure we're gonna do it again, so if you missed it, you don't wanna miss next year. Second of all, I wanna piggyback, before I go to this slide, I wanna piggyback on the Christmas dinner, and they already left, but it was such a cool event. I mean, I did deliver meals to, the Amanda Park up in Marietta is a senior community. And there's a lot of people that can't get out. Literally they're stuck in their apartments. And one of the ladies that I delivered the meal to, she literally just wanted to talk. And so I stood there and talked with her for a bit. Get a little choked up. But it was spectacular. And I would highly recommend anybody who wants to do something really what the season is all about, go to that event and experience that because it's really something. So now for my WIP part of it is the e-bikes. We are seeing an uptick in e-bike activity, and it's almost like a gang-like activity with 10, 15, 20 e-bikes taking over roads. And this is becoming a major issue. And so we're watching legislation coming down from the state, how they're trying to address this. But I think it's something we as a city, and I already talked with our ledge person to see if we can actually be more supportive of any new legislation, because these are literally motorized vehicles, and we're handing these motorized vehicles to these 12, 13-year-old kids who don't know the rules of the road and don't really care. And so someone's going to get killed, and that's going to be really horrible, not only for the family who lost the kid, but for the person who killed the kid. And that's what I'm trying to prevent. I think parents really need to take control of, if they hand a kid an e-bike, make sure that kid knows that this e-bike is a privilege. It's not something that it's got responsibilities that go with that. And I personally do not believe you should hand a motorized vehicle to anybody under 16. And that includes e-bikes, because these e-bikes, even though the class 1 and 2 are supposedly only go 20 miles an hour, I know they go faster than 20 miles an hour. And so we need to really, really get a handle on this. And it seems like it's just, with Christmas over now, we're seeing a real influx of kids who got brand new e-bikes or e-motorcycles, which are totally illegal. And that's what's on the back of that tow truck right there, is an e-bike that we confiscated from some kid who was riding an e-motorcycle through town. And we are going to continue to confiscate e-motorcycles, and unfortunately the laws do protect them to use the road, but they also have to obey the rules of the road, and they're not doing that. And so we've got to do something about this. We're trying to do something about this. And so I just want to let you guys know, we hear and we see it too. So it's not, nothing is falling on deaf ears when you report it to us, because it's just more information we can give our sheriff's deputies to go. So e-bike safety, please, before someone dies.
Well said, Councilman. Councilman Baran?
Thank you. First, I wanted to start again and sort of thank our fire chief and CAL FIRE, of course, for all the hard work that they're doing right now, all the firefighters responding to those incidents in Los Angeles. We, if you don't know, do a lot of research and support related to wildland fires and urban interface, and in particular, the health and safety and attack effectiveness. I think it's important to note that the working conditions for our first responders are some of the most horrific environments imaginable. Humans should never be exposed to the kind of things that they are, especially coming off the smoke, ash, and soot. It's not just a vegetation fire, it's all those materials in those homes with known toxic, hazardous, and carcinogenic properties. The folks at CAL FIRE and the Incident Command and Cal OSHA as well are making a strong push to provide respiratory protection for our first responders on the incident. There was a bit of a hiccup, if you will, in trying to track down respiratory devices, both from the federal and state caches. I think those issues have all been ironed out now. But in the interim, I just want to give kudos to the city of Temecula. So, as we're trying to track down respiratory protection for firefighters, I just got a little bit desperate and called up our city manager and EOC and said, I remember us having some N95 masks back from, COVID. Do we still have anything in the city cache? And there's two things that came out of this. One is I was able to deliver roughly 10,000 additional N95 masks the other day to the Incident Command. But the other thing that came out of this is that the city of Temecula has somewhere around 130,000 masks in its cache. And every city should have an EOC that is that prepared and is ready and willing to assist not just their regional partners, but an incident that happens within its own community. And so that speaks very highly. I know we had propped up an EOC in Temecula before I left council, and to see the results of that and the outcome of Temecula being, in my sense, one of the most resilient communities out there. I think that's a very important message that our community needs to hear. And thanks to City Manager and Michael Alford and Chief Crater for working with me on this and helping out our firefighters at the Palisades fire. Piggybacking on that, I also wanted to mention that sort of coincidentally, we had a meeting planned for today that took place where I was getting an update on our community wildfire protection plan and the Community Resilience Index that was developed in collaboration with Cal Poly and a few other folks. And you know, it was great to see the outcome of the CWPP, knowing that there are high-risk areas within Temecula that pose a potential threat for wildfire risk. We had a more sobering conversation after that, given what's going on in California right now, saying that there are, and I know a number of our neighbors and folks in the community have reached out to you all and to our city staff and fire chief, asking questions about some of the areas they see that are overgrown with vegetation and should be managed. We had a great conversation talking about what we as a council could do to help accelerate some of that. It's challenging to manage a lot of the property because you run into CEQA issues, you run into environmental issues, cultural resource issues, a lot of that. And there's a lot of things that prevent just the wholesale clearing of vegetation and brush that could pose a threat to Temecula. However, I'm over it. I think we need to get a lot more aggressive about this. And so we've started the conversation. I'd like to bring an item. I'm not quite ready with staff. I know we spoke with legal today as well to see what our potential solutions might be. It may go so far as the city issuing an emergency proclamation on some of these issues so that we can act quickly and decisively on this. There may be other solutions, and hopefully all of our community partners, property owners, businesses, and regulatory and resource agencies who do manage these properties where these risks occur in and around our city simply come to the table and do the right thing. That's the hope. But absent that, we need to be a lot more aggressive about this and do the right thing. So look forward to bringing an item forward to the council to discuss further on this very soon. Thanks.
Thank you. Looking forward to seeing those items. Councilmember Schwenk?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple slides, and then I'll just make some brief comments if we could put that first slide up. All right, so the city of Temecula is hosting the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. It's a food drive. It's Monday, January 20th through Saturday, January 25th. We have drop-off locations at the Welcome Center here in Old Town. It's 28690 Mercedes Street, Suite 101, just right outside of City Hall. Much like some of the comments from Councilmember Stewart about giving, we do have a very generous community, and I hope folks take an opportunity to use this as a way to connect with their neighbors, connect with their friends, connect with their family, and with the broader community to do good and bring good things to Temecula. So I look forward to that being another successful event for our city. Okay, next slide. All right, so it is true that the New Year's Eve drone show was quite a wonderful event. It was the first drone show that we did in our city and probably in the region. I'm not quite sure on that. But I wanted to sort of just throw out an idea. I think that a hybrid firework drone show would be off the hook. I mean, I think it would be, I've seen some videos, and these are just a couple stills from some of the videos that other cities around have done. But I think there's an opportunity to sort of look forward and how to leverage some of this technology. I think some of the oohs and ahs when we were sitting down there from people when they saw the Temecula script written in the sky and things like that, and the bell tower and things. It was just a fun thing, and I think as we sit here and we think of new and innovative things to do in our city, I think this is sort of that next step. This is just conceptual, and all things cost money, and we have to figure out where that's going to come from. But I'd like us to consider this at some point, sort of adding a layer to our regional, out-of-the-world 4th of July celebration that we have around Ridge Sports Park, and really hit a home run. And I honestly want to see an eagle carrying an American flag across the sky with flames shooting out of its wings. So hopefully we can make that happen. Anyways, all right. And I have one just sort of comment. I want to just sort of recognize the loss, the devastation that Southern California in general is feeling right now. Our hearts, our thoughts, prayers, empathy, and love is certainly with everyone that's affected by the fires in Southern California. I think there's probably not, feel like everyone knows someone that's been affected in some way. And you think of, the broader Southern California region is a massive region with millions and millions of people, and we all know, we have colleagues that we know or friends that we know, or someone's being impacted by this. But I'm seeing some things that I struggle with. So when we talk about this time of the world that we're in right now, we all have channels to share information and knowledge with each other. And I just want to take a minute just remind folks how important it is to be accurate and truthful in the information that we share. And this is just a broad statement. This isn't a critique of anyone, especially anyone up here, or even anyone regionally. It's just things that I've seen on social media, mostly, sometimes on the news. And I think, in the wake of these tremendous devastation that we're seeing in Los Angeles, there's misinformation that's spread all over social media, even on news sites. And then you add in, this sort of agenda-driven misinformation, and that's spread by, headline-chasing politicians, celebrities, influencers even, and it's just a recipe for disaster. This is certainly a lot to say, but providing just one person with wrong information can inspire them to act upon that fake information. It could be disastrous on many levels. We've all seen conspiracy theories travel the internet and inspire people to act in violent and destructive ways. So if we can just take a minute to do everything you can to verify the information we're being fed before we hit the share button or write that comment or tell a neighbor even down the street, it could save someone's life or their livelihood. And then it's just something that I've been reflecting on myself, and just take a break, make an effort to prioritize truth and responsible communication, especially as elected officials, for the betterment of our loved ones and the community at large. I think it matters. And then piggybacking seems like a common word we've used tonight. Given that we'll likely experience an emergency situation at some point in the city, I do think bringing something forward where we can have this conversation, not only about the emergency response, but let's think about continuing to build and be a trusted source of information for the community. So when people see something or hear something, they would at first question it. Well, is that true? That's not what the city's saying. That's not what CAL FIRE is saying. That's not what RSO is saying. Build on that. And I think we can do a lot of good work in the coming year, being even more prepared than we are. And Michael and the team's done a wonderful job. And Aaron, you've done a wonderful job preparing our city. But we all know anything can happen at any time. And I think part of that being prepared is having valid, truthful information that we can make sure that the public is getting, and sort of combat a lot of that misinformation, disinformation, and really help in a really meaningful way. So I'm just hopeful that the folks across Southern California can get through this. I know it's going to take a lot of time to rebuild, but Temecula stands with everyone that's been affected in Southern California. We're all Californians, we're all Americans, and we're here to help and uplift everyone that's been affected. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Alexander?
I just want to keep this pretty short, but I just want to, first of all, thank you guys for all the information. I definitely want to add the fact that we've had some fires. Everybody knows that we've had the fires go on, but I have had some residents ask me, okay, so what about evacuation? What about all of these things on how we can be prepared? So if you haven't already, I urge you to go to our website. We have the Office of Management, and they're going to go through there. There's different sections that you can hit on for just information up to date. So if you want to be prepared, you want to have a backpack to go, everything from earthquakes to fires, any type of information. I believe that the city does an excellent job preparing our cities. We just need to know where to look for it. So I urge you, especially obviously with the winds coming up in the next couple days, just be prepared. I think our families should all be prepared anyways with that go bag. I know we have one as well, and can move pretty quickly out of our house. Make sure you have your documents in one spot in order to be able to take those birth certificates, social security cards, all those things, and get out quickly. Our first responders do an excellent job, but you got to maintain and prepare for your own family and then your neighbors next. So if you have the ability and the time, which I believe everybody has some time, please go on that website and check it out and just get more informed. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I have a slide here. I want to start off the first meeting with a few key achievements that we had as a city last year, as a few looking forward to 2025 as well. I'll just go through these quick. Last year in 2024, we had the I-15 northbound auxiliary lane ribbon cutting and opening of the actual lane, which is pretty awesome. We had the opening of Las Haciendas affordable housing in our uptown. We had the passing of Measure M, which was the most widely successful passed resolution placed on a ballot by City Council in Temecula's history, with almost 84% of our population voting yes on term limits. So the three re-elected and I guess all re-elected council members up here will be the first ones to start that term limit clock of 12 years. We have the most public roads accepted into our public maintenance system than we've had in Temecula's past. And we also had the opening of our brand new community center at the MRC, which was an awesome achievement by the city of Temecula, which has also paid off. Pretty exciting. And looking forward in 2025, we will have the completion of French Valley Phase 2, which everyone is looking forward to. Less traffic on that 215 interchange. We have the opening of a pickleball 17-court complex coming to the sports park. We have a new splash pad. The CRC, Ronald Reagan Sports Park, has a new large playground. We're going to be adding northbound and southbound auxiliary lanes added through Temecula coming this summer. The completion of Nicholas Road, as well as a street road maintenance investment in 2025 of $12.7 million. So lots of things to look forward to, and as Temecula seems to always do, lead the way, and other cities seem to follow our path. So looking forward to a great year in 2025. And then just to reiterate what my colleagues have said, and as our Chief Crater said, thank you to our firefighters. As Councilmember Schwenk said, our thoughts and our prayers are with everyone affected by the Palisades fire and all the other fires in Southern California. We are thinking of you, we stand with you. And just to make a quick comment, I'd love the drone fireworks show, and especially this day and age with wildfires in California being such a huge issue, and it's really year-round. There's no wildfire season anymore. It's really the year is the wildfire season, and I can't tell you how many fires I've investigated on the 4th of July that are due to fireworks starting wildfires. So it would be awesome to see, and I think that would be another thing that Temecula leads the way on a drone show instead of the actual use of fireworks, just to show that we are doing everything we can to not only prevent wildfires, but to move forward. And lastly, I just want to say I am grateful to you, Councilmember Ron, as I sit here and I on a personal level, as a firefighter, the amount of research and due diligence that you've done on your side of the aisle and your side of the ballpark, helping firefighters and really trying to change the system to improve the health and safety of firefighters. It's an honor to sit next to you. I respect you more than I can tell you for that, and I look forward to working alongside you. So thank you for that. With that being said, our council reports will come to an end, and we will move on to our consent calendar. Number 1, we will waive the reading of title and text of all ordinances and resolutions included in the agenda. Number 2, approve action minutes of December 10th, 2024. 3, approve list of demands. 4, approve city treasurer's report for the period of October 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2024. Number 5, receive and file citywide year-end report highlighting 2024 accomplishments. Number 6, approve annual city council protocol manual for calendar year 2025. Number 7, approve annual boards, committees, and commissions handbook for calendar year 2025. Number 8, approve annual proclamation list for the 2025 calendar year. Number 9, approve annual legislative platform for calendar year 2025. Number 10, approve annual citywide records retention schedule and records destruction for calendar year 2025. Would any of my colleagues like to pull any of those 10 items?
I'd like to pull 6 for a brief comment, and then 9 for comment, maybe action.
6, 8, and 9. We'll go ahead with the brief comment for 6.
Yeah, and Mayor Kalfitz, I really appreciate what you opened up with at the beginning of the meeting, talking about public comments. I just want to read it. It's very short, but I think, when we address the council, so in our public participation at meetings, it's policy number 6. It was approved on September 28th, 2021. Addressing the council, comment and testimony shall be directed to the council through the mayor. Dialogue between the inquiries from citizens at the podium and individual council members or staff where the seated audience is not permitted, council members seeking to clarify testimony or gain additional information should direct their questions through the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that being said, I will take a motion on the balance of the consent calendar to exclude number 8 and 9, which have been pulled for discussion.
I'll move.
Second.
And that passes unanimously. We will go with number 8, approve annual proclamation list for the 2025 calendar year.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mayor. One of the things I just wanted to add, I know I had brought it up several months ago about the month of November. I was very interested in being able to bring a Veteran Month to Temecula. I know our city does so much for veterans in general. And it's just after seeing the breakfast that we put together, we have other awards that we give out or proclamations, Veterans Small Business Week, we do Veterans and Military Families Month, and that's all done in November. So I am asking the council, if at all possible, if as we continue to support and celebrate what our veterans have done, if we can have a Veterans Month proclamation to be able to celebrate them realistically all month instead of just that one day. Now, if you guys, I'm sure, did look inside of the proclamation list, it does say in May that there's a Military Appreciation Month that is directly for Memorial Day from Congress, but we're just looking for something a little bit more local, a little bit more personal in order to support our veterans. So I just wanted to get some feedback from you guys and see if that's something we want to do.
Absolutely. I think we all appreciate our veterans, and if we want to make sure that these line up with the national proclamations. I think we discussed that earlier, but I am all on board with that.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, if you want to make a motion for number 8 with the adjustments.
So I had a comment for 8 too.
Oh, perfect.
So when we talk about, and it's separate from this, but the Ready Commission proclamation list is a completely separate list. I've attended quite a few of the Ready Commission proclamations. I think the Ready Commission does a wonderful job. I'm not suggesting, and I'm not going to suggest that we change what we've done for the last couple of years, because I think the Ready Commission's done a good job. The way that they wrap their arms around the community is something that we should all be proud of, and I think that I wouldn't want to upset that. I do have an issue with not being able to have these at the council level, on some level. I can work through the mayor, which I did last year, and bring White Cane Awareness Month to City Council. But I can't do that, or maybe I choose not to do that, but I can't do that with the Ready Commission proclamations. And I think I have a hard time with some of these proclamations not being at the council level. I'm just going to throw it out there that we should amend this to at least give the discretion to the mayor, that at least try to work through the mayor, like some of the other proclamations that if we want to bring something forward, it's pretty simple. You work through the mayor, and you can bring something forward, and it's a simple, it doesn't have to be a big event. We're not trying to do an education ceremony or anything like that. But when we're out in the community and we have some wonderful people in our community that feel slighted by this, and I just feel like there's an opportunity for us to bridge that gap and have the opportunity to bring, for example, Native American Heritage Month back to the council, right? To have that opportunity, we don't even have that opportunity. It's just something that I think we should consider.
So, I clearly missed the meeting where all the proclamations and resolutions got moved, but, back in my day, everything was done here at the council, so I'm not clear what the shift or decision-making was, but, if we want to have that conversation again, then, yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Councilmember Stewart?
Mr. Mayor, I actually love having them at the Ready Commission only because they get their due. I mean, what the Ready Commission does with these proclamations is far and away better than the 5 minutes or less that we can give these proclamations here at the city council level. And so, but I am in favor of allowing, us to, and we do have our council comment section that we can read any proclamation we want. I mean, we don't have to ask for permission from anybody, as far as that's concerned. We can acknowledge that proclamation. But what the Ready Commission does at the Ready Commission level is far and away better and creates a sense of an actual acknowledgement of that proclamation. Whereas here, we're in a hurry to get to the next thing, where they can dedicate an entire meeting to that proclamation. And I like that. I've been to many of them too, and I really am impressed with what the Ready Commission has done with the proclamations. But at the same token, there are, and I felt it with the Native American Heritage Month. I really think the Pechanga people really want it to come back to the city council. And so if there's a way there that we can somehow allow or have that take place, whichever proclamation that you personally have had a connection with, or that it's something that we have the ability to do too. So I think that it's definitely a discussion that I think we should have. But like I said, I mean, right now, we still have the ability to read any proclamation we want from this dais. So I don't think anybody's precluded from doing that. So, but as far as the list is concerned, I'm like I said, I love the Ready Commission and what they do with these. They do it so much more justice than we do it. I feel like we cheat them when it's here. It's wham bam, thank you, ma'am. And I would much rather have that long presentation.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I tried.
So, anyways, that's my opinion.
Thank you, Councilmember. Mayor Pro Tem, you have anything?
I just want to say thank you for bringing this up. This was good, good discussion. I know it's sometimes kind of hard for us just to talk about this, let's be honest. I appreciate it. I also appreciate, Stu, your perspective too. I've been able to go and see some of the celebrations, and it's only for that group, and they kind of enjoy it. It's a beautiful thing. And let's be honest, it's been really peaceful this last couple years. We've been able to grow together as a council. And just, so I mean, if you want to bring something up, I think, Stu, I think you nailed it. If we have the right during our time to be able to present, and that's just kind of my opinion. But again, I want to respect all of us and, continue to be able to move together as a body and really keep moving forward no matter what. So that's just where I'm at.
I'll go ahead. No, I agree with Councilmember Alexander and Councilmember Stewart as well. I feel like the council comments is a great place for us to say anything that we want to say and read any proclamation that we want to read. One change that I would actually ask my colleagues to help me make is when bringing them to the Ready Commission, we used to have clubs would be able to present. The high school clubs would be able to come up and present and have a 15-minute presentation if they so choose. And since we moved them over to the Ready Commission, it seems that we've almost eliminated all of those high school clubs from being able to have a longer presentation. So even though the proclamations themselves would stay generic, we don't direct them at any specific group or any specific person, allowing those groups that are already in the clubs at the high schools to come up and give a presentation if they so choose, if they wanted to send an email to Madam City Clerk and have that set up, but giving them a platform for a longer presentation I think would be a good change that they originally had at the City Council. But overall, I do agree with Councilmember Stewart where the Ready Commission, the presentations are longer, they're more in depth, and adding those clubs being able to speak on behalf of what they support and what they represent, I think would be a good add-on to allow them more time at those meetings. But that's my perspective. We have anything else?
Yeah, I'll add on. And I wasn't suggesting to take anything from the Ready Commission. I think they do a great job. And I really never understood the reasoning behind, sort of excluding the youth groups or the kids from it, because I think if you went to them the year prior, it was all about like the next generation, right? We're trying to set that example for like the next generation. And to see last year the attendance really drop off, it didn't have the same feel, it didn't have the same, love and pride that the year previously had. The issue that I have with the council comments is, and I'm not opposed to it in the sense of like, yeah, we all have that right, I get it, but it does present a divided group, right? Like if I say, well, I'm gonna do this proclamation versus, let's say for Native American Heritage Month, like let's say I work through the mayor and I say, hey, I wanna bring this back, we're gonna do just a very brief presentation. Maybe you would find that many of these groups wouldn't even want to come here, right? They would say, no, we appreciate doing it already, we're good with that. But having the option, having like the official option to be here, I think is important. I mean, we can say, everything about the Ready Commission, everything they've done, they do a really good job. But they're not the city council, right? They're not the directly elected representatives of the community. And so there is a ton of value to have events like that here, which is why we go to events, right? Like that, which is why you get to go somewhere and speak because you're the mayor. It's not because you're the Ready Commissioner, right? Or whatever. Like they want to see the mayor. They want to see city council. They want to do it in this forum. And I think we should have that, at least have that opportunity to do this. And we can try it. And this is what this meeting's for. And we could say next year at this time, say, yeah, that didn't work out, whatever, we'll do something different. I just want to not go past this meeting and look through some of these and say, okay, also maybe nothing against the Greek Food Festival Month, but I don't think that's a Ready Commission proclamation. But have the opportunity to go for any number of these, African American History Month, like to do that here in addition to, and it doesn't have to be a long drawn out event. And no disrespect to you, Mr. Stewart, when we're doing proclamations, like I value that here too, right? Because I don't always get to go to every single, other proclamation event or whatever. So it is something that like even 5 minutes for a group to be able to come, they were at city council, you see people, they're excited about it. So I'm not saying we have to force this back to the council. What I'm saying is there should be an opportunity for this to happen here at this level. And it doesn't have to be controversial. It doesn't have to be chaotic. It can be meaningful for any of the groups that want to participate in this. It should be an option.
I have a possible solution to kind of both. I don't know if this is even possible. Randy, if you could let me know how things can prosper possibly. Is it possible, obviously, if at the Ready Commission, if, let's say, they want to see the mayor, right, that you can present yourself the proclamation to the individuals at that specific meeting? Is that possible if you want to join? Is that something that we can do? Even though the Ready Commission is up here, I just don't know if he can specifically himself can come or one of the council members yourself can come and give it to him themselves. So we have, at the Ready Commission, we have what you're talking about and Califas Mayor. And then at the same time, we have the mayor show up or a city council member. So that way, they're receiving it from them. Just a possibility to kind of meet in the middle to appease both sides. Randy, is that possible?
I'll just answer, because we've done that.
Okay.
Like we did it, both Stu and I did it both in 23 and in 24. We were both there for like almost all of them. It's still, with all due respect, it's not the same.
Okay.
Yep. No, I personally feel that, I understand exactly what you're saying, Councilmember Schwenk, but you're more optimistic than I am. I can see the contention coming back and saying, if we brought a few back out of that list that the Ready Commission presents, and we leave a few out, like, well, now you're just leaving these out, why are you leaving them out again? And it creates that viewpoint of exclusion even more so than what it is now. I personally like the way that it is done with the Ready Commission, the way they do it, the quality that they do it at. I think they have done a great job, and I would prefer to have them continue to do it. Again, the only change that I would like to see currently is just allowing those high school clubs to be able to present, if they so choose, at those meetings. moving forward. Councilmember Ron?
Well, clearly there's baggage I'm not tracking on this issue, so allow me to the generosity to kind of figure this out on my own. But you know, I understand what everybody's saying here, and I don't disagree that, you know, keeping things at the Ready Commission might not be a bad idea, because it gets, you know, a lot more treatment, a lot more focus, and a lot more time. And, you know, I don't think there's anything that prevents a council member, mayor, or anyone else to attend. You know, each one of these proclamations is incredibly special to someone in our community and someone on our council, right? And so, you know, giving them the respect that they're due and the support of the city and in whatever capacity we can, I think is important. And I agree 100% is that if you pick and choose, you know, one proclamation over another, we all have our passions and the things we care deeply about, but then, you know, it's to the exclusion of others. And you know, I think that would set a pretty horrible precedent, you know, at the city. So, you know, I kind of go back, Jessica, what you were saying earlier is, you know, I agree. I think it's, you know, if we're going to keep this at the Ready Commission level, let's make sure we give them all the opportunity they can to make it into an event that's, you know, appropriately respectful and recognizes the weight of that proclamation. And for the council members, mayors, and others, you know, we you know, can all attend and participate in whatever capacity we think is important to help, you know, bring that gravitas back to the event that may be missing from, you know, having it at a council meeting. It's still at City Hall. We still, you know, support these events, and, you know, and I agree, Mayor, that, you know, the more we can do to get the students more involved again, and allow them that opportunity to have a voice. I don't think there was anything preventing that from happening, or I can't imagine the Ready Commission would oppose that themselves either. But, you know, certainly that, you know, opening that opportunity for them to participate the way they had in the past and other organizations as well, I'd fully support that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll support it, because I'm not asking to take anything away from the Ready Commission. I think we should give the Ready Commission all the tools they want. I would just be remiss if I didn't, you know, have this conversation, and that's what this meeting's for. And I'll fill you in on the baggage after the meeting.
Well, if there's no further discussion, I will entertain a motion, and we'll make it very specific when we do it for you, Madam City Clerk. I will make the motion for item number 8 to approve as is with the adjustments to add in Military Month for the month of November.
Thank you.
As well as to allow the opportunity for the school clubs to present at the Ready Commission meetings. That is my motion. I will entertain a second.
Second.
That passes unanimously, and we will move on to item number 9. Is that Councilmember Schwenk?
So I think I pulled item number 9. And I think this is a broader conversation that I'd like us to have. I think we all have some things in here that maybe we want to add. I just did, so I opened up our Ledge platform, Control F, and I searched for insurance, right? Because we're talking about fire insurance, we're talking about some of the devastation. There is nothing in here about fire insurance. There's support legislation exempting hot air balloons from PUC regulations that require accidental liability insurance. There's support legislation requiring private insurance companies to cover autism. I think we need to have a broader conversation about the fire insurance market in general in California, and couldn't be a more apropos time to have that conversation. I don't know if it's just a wholesale, like just add that in, or if it's something that I think we should bring this back at another, assuming maybe there's other things that folks want to talk about. Housing, you know, I think there's probably an opportunity for us to really dive into a couple key issues that are impacting, you know, not just the Temecula residents, but our region as a whole, and have that really good conversation, and then just send marching orders to the folks in Sacramento and Washington, and try to get it done, and then work collaboratively with our regional partners as well, our other city councils and things like that. So I don't necessarily want to add something about fire insurance right now, if that's okay, because we would be forming it here. But I think at some point, we could bring this back in a couple meetings and have a conversation about updating this platform.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, I'm excited to have Councilmember Ron, who was one of the initiators of our legislative platform, add any context that you have, anything that you want to add. I know Councilmember Stewart talked about adding e-bikes to our legislative platform. And I think this is, like Councilmember Schwenk said, something that we have an opportunity to add a lot this year, including housing, e-bikes, fire insurance. And a lot of the legislative platform is a lot of reactive. We wait for policies to come through, but this gives us, they're reactive. This gives us an opportunity to be proactive in our platform. So if any of my council colleagues have anything on the ledge platform.
Just, I wouldn't mind one comment, and in the sort of core principles at the beginning of the ledge platform, there's 3 items that are called out that sort of give the overall direction for why we have a legislative platform in the first place. But the one thing that's missing, it's embedded in a lot of the principles further down the line, but it's still, the core tenet of a city's responsibility is public safety. And so, having not read this for a couple of years and then viewing it through a different lens, I was kind of surprised not to see a 4th, sort of core principle right at the front that said, public safety is. And the only reason I bring that up is because, that gives us that flexibility, I think, too, as broadly as we can word that, to address things like, insurance and others, because that falls under that, sort of broader principle of why we're here to help protect our community. So if we're able to, modify something, I don't know if it's this evening or later, I spoke to our legislative director and city manager a little bit about this, so maybe that's a possibility. The other thing I would say too is, just as a side note, I think the council and our legislative director and all are nimble enough that as issues emerge during the year that aren't on our radar currently, but come, as a surprise and something that we need to respond to, I think, built into this is already the flexibility for any one of us to say, hey, all of a sudden this is a priority for us. I think at the end of the year it was Prop 36 was brought in as one of these items that, again, it fit well into, the city's legislative platform, but it was different because it wasn't legislative advocacy, right? It was a very different piece. And so it gave the city, and I think there is that inherent flexibility, but I want to keep that in mind that, we can keep adding things to the list and expanding it, but, just recognizing that, there's still some, pretty decent flexibility and ability to respond rapidly to changes.
Completely agree. So what I'm hearing, I'm thinking, and you guys can tell me if I'm on the same page as you, bring this back at a later date if we directed staff to do some more research on our ledge platform, to look into adding a 4th principle of public safety, to look into fire insurance, e-bikes, and housing, and then bring back the ledge platform at maybe next meeting. That way we can vote on it and pass it. That way it's on the books.
So in regards to e-bikes and the 4th guiding principle, public safety, we do have 2 sample statements for inclusion tonight. If council would like to go ahead and consider those, we can go ahead and add those in. In regards to insurance and housing, if council could give us a little bit more direction on what you would like the legislative platform to say in regards to that. Are we supporting something? Are we opposing something? Then that will help us research and draft when we bring it back to you. Obviously, we have a whole section on housing in the ledge platform now. What about housing would you like us to include? We have, a whole section on public safety. Is there something specific about insurance? Are we talking only about fire insurance? Are we talking about something else? So whatever, let me go ahead and have those 2 slides pulled up and see. So first of all, in response to Councilmember Stewart, e-bikes has been a regular occurrence throughout the last year. We've actually talked about e-bikes and as legislation has come up, Council has given us some, feedback on that as well. So this is a broad enough statement, should council concur, that it will allow our state lobbyists to flexibly maneuver anytime any sort of e-bike statement, any legislation comes up. So City of Temecula supports mobility and outdoor recreation as it relates to e-bikes when balanced with the health and safety needs of all riders, including minor children, residents at large, and the protection of property interests in the community. So all this statement does is it puts e-bikes in our legislative platform, and it'll trigger our state lobbyists for any time there's legislation on e-bikes to go ahead and bring that to our attention. And we know ridership was a concern, and we also know damage to community parks and those kinds of things were a concern. So hopefully this statement is broad enough to cover that. So that's one. The second slide.
Wait, before we move on, can I?
Yes, sure, come on back. If we
recommend one
Sure.
thing is as it relates to e-bikes and similar devices.
Happy to do that.
Just because there's all sorts of new things that are coming out that, if we just say e-bikes and it doesn't quite fit that mold, we shouldn't have to come back and modify the language.
If we're going to be specific, we might just want to include reference to e-motorcycles, because I think there is a vast distinction between the two. And so, I think I'd like to see that in the broad statement too.
Great, we can go ahead and say e-bikes, e-motorcycles, and similar devices. It's an easy enough change. And then the second statement, the guiding principle, we did, following the same template that is in the guiding principles now, we added a statement saying support of public safety, support measures that allow the city to provide public safety services and programs related to local law enforcement, fire suppression and prevention, hazardous materials mitigation, rescue, emergency medical services, and disaster preparedness to maintain a high quality of life for all residents. This list actually came out of our existing items under the public safety section in the legislative platform now, combined into a solid statement. So if the council concurs with those two items and the e-bike one as amended, then those we can go ahead and put in our ledge platform tonight, and we'll be ready to go. And then if council can go ahead and give us a little bit more direction on the insurance piece and the housing piece, then we can bring that back at the next meeting. Our state lobbyists will be joining us at the first meeting in February. So if we could get this wrapped up at the second meeting in January, we should be good to go. Mr. Mayor, with that, I'll turn it back over to you for further discussion.
Okay, and before we make a motion, I'll just say, Councilmember Schwenk, is there anything particular for the fire insurance or housing that you would like to see added?
Yeah, no, and for the housing, I honestly just threw that out because we've been having housing conversations, and I think the language in here, I think, and I'll just read it, support legislation and funding programs that promotes the development and enhancement of safe, affordable, and accessible housing within the city for all economic segments of the population, support legislation and funding for improvements to housing element law to provide clear processes and flexibility to allow regional cooperation and establish realistic housing goals and performance standards. These are very broad statements, and I'm very fine with it. I just said that in response to the past year we've been having this housing conversation. With respect to the insurance, I don't necessarily feel comfortable tonight saying, oh, I want to see this. What I do know is that if you're lucky enough to get your housing insurance renewed, you're paying significantly more than you did last year, right? And that's just if you're lucky enough to get renewed. So I think this is something that if my colleagues are okay with, I could work with our legislative director, just a brief 15, 20-minute meeting and sort of kind of try to figure out some statements, because we can oppose and we can support things, right? Like there's going to be opportunities for us to, but I'd like to at least have the conversation. I don't feel comfortable throwing out a statement tonight on something like that, which is why I felt like we could bring it back.
Okay. All right. And I'm sorry, real quick on the public safety piece. I don't want to limit us to it in the language, and it's maybe just a nuance, but it's, support measure. We should also oppose things that erode the city's ability to maintain and enhance its public, right? So,
Yes.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like that, the phraseology there, I know we want to be able to support good legislation that benefits the city and our community, but I also think we need to be proactive about some bad legislation that comes through that we should be getting in front of as well.
Absolutely. And our guiding principles, all 4 of them are in the affirmative. Because guiding principles, we try to be in the affirmative. In the text of the balance of the legislative platform, it actually does say support and oppose.
Okay.
So the contents of the public safety section, there's support principles and there's opposed principles.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you.
All right, with that, I will make the motion to approve item number 9, the annual legislative
Mr.
platform.
Mayor, could I,
Yes.
I'm sorry, could I just ask one clarifying
Absolutely.
question on the public safety principle statement? Are we confident that either captured in that or captured through in the existing ledge platform, that emergency management is adequately referenced? I mean, there's a lot of discussion tonight about emergency management, but if it's not, could we add that to the statement within the public safety guiding principle? Because as we all know, there's a lot of good and bad legislation surrounding emergency management that's maybe different than what law enforcement or fire department's dealing with. So that would be one of my recommendations, and I know Chief Crater feels strongly about that as well.
I do, thank you.
If we can bring the slide back up, I think that would be an easy fix. So right now, it includes disaster preparedness as a generic term. If we want to say emergency and disaster preparedness, we can certainly do that.
Chief Crater, do you feel like the term emergency management should be in that statement, or are you comfortable with disaster preparedness?
I do, because a lot of people don't understand emergency management. There's a lot of misnomers out there, and I think if you don't say it, it doesn't exist, right? It gets kind of skipped over. And emergency management just does so much for, the city and our community that I think it would be a disservice if we didn't have something in there. So that's my opinion.
And we can easily include that to say emergency medical services, emergency management, and disaster preparedness. We'll go ahead and amend it, assuming council is okay. So, Mr. Mayor, if I'm clear on what is happening, we have the 2 additional changes tonight that are, we are, on the e-bike slide, we are adding e-bikes, e-motorcycles, and similar devices. And then on the public safety guiding principle, we are adding emergency management. And both of those additions are being approved and included tonight. In addition, we are working with Councilmember Schwenk to fine-tune some of his thoughts in regards to perhaps draft statements regarding fire insurance, home insurance, that will be brought back for final consideration and decision-making by the entire city council at the next council meeting.
That sounds perfect. With that, I will entertain a motion.
Second.
And that motion passes 5-0. With that, I will recess the city council meeting to President Schwenk with the TCSD.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I will now convene the Temecula Community Services District meeting. Madam City Clerk, please note that we are all still here. Do we have any public comments on non-agenda items? All right, thank you. We'll dispense with that. We'll move to our consent calendar. We have item number 11, approve action minutes of December 10th, 2024. Item number 12, approve First Amendment with Advantage Mailing LLC for printing services. And that is all. I will entertain a motion and a second.
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion. Who is second? And we have a motion and a second. Let us vote. All right, and that's approved 5-0. Thank you very much. We'll move to our Community Services Director report. Anything this evening?
Yes, indeed. Good evening, everyone. In lieu of my normal director's report, I'd like to invite up our Homeless Outreach and Prevention Manager, Lacey Sisler, who's going to provide an overview of our homeless outreach program over the past year. It was in many ways a historic year for the program. We made some new initiatives, and we had some really unprecedented successes. And Lacey will introduce her team as well.
Welcome, Lacey.
Good evening. My name is Lacey Sisler, and I serve as the city's homeless outreach administrator. Thank you for the opportunity to provide this update on our efforts to address homelessness in our community. Today, we will cover key topics, including a brief overview of our team, our programs, the most recent census update, program outcomes, RSO efforts, and take a look ahead at what's coming up next. So we'll begin with a team overview. Our team is dedicated to addressing homelessness in Temecula through a collaborative, compassionate, and data-driven approach. And I'd like to take a moment to provide an overview of the individuals and the roles that make these efforts possible. So starting with city staff manages the city's response to homelessness and prevention through regional collaboration, resource center operations, and the mitigation of dangerous and unhealthy encampments and other impacts of homelessness on the community. We also oversee contracted service providers, including RUHS, SWAG, and manage collaboration with local and regional providers and track and evaluate outcomes. Next up, we have SWAG. The SWAG team, formed in 2017, is made up of individuals who have diverse education and experience in social services and addressing homelessness at a city, county, and federal level. SWAG provides 4 full-time outreach workers to conduct street-level outreach and offer case management, and they focus on addressing the most severe and chronic cases of homelessness. Through a contract with the county, RUHS provides a full-time mobile crisis response team that gives field-based mental health crisis services to assist homeless and other vulnerable residents. And last, but most definitely not least, we have our core team. So law enforcement support is provided by the Community Outreach Resources and Engagement, or core team, with a comprehensive approach to addressing quality of life issues. Their dedication and collaboration are invaluable to our efforts. We could not achieve the impact we do without their support and partnership. So, with a strong and dedicated team in place, we've been able to implement and manage effective programs that address the challenges of homelessness in our community. So now we're going to provide an overview of the programs that we administer. Since 2016, the city has provided street-level outreach using a balanced approach of compassion and responsibility. Currently, addiction and mental illness seem to present our most significant hurdles. Often, it leaves individuals completely disengaged from their own recovery. Despite these challenges, SWAG, RUHS, city staff, and the core team are out daily. We are working to build trust and offer support to connect individuals with appropriate resources. So impact mitigation, the impacts of homelessness extend beyond the individual experiencing homelessness. They affect the families, their social groups, the community, and businesses. As a city, we're responsible for addressing both the individual impacts and the broader community impacts. So impact mitigation includes the cleanup of dangerous and unhealthy encampments, addressing impacts on private property and local businesses, and ensuring safety in public spaces. While balancing these responsibilities is challenging, we've found that accountability often leads individuals to accept resources. For example, during a recent large-scale cleanup we just had, an individual who had been trespassing ultimately decided to enter treatment. And interestingly, he credited his change of heart to the compassionate and encouraging conversations he was having at the cleanup site with, of all people, our cleanup contractor. So this just like really highlights the critical role of accountability paired with empathy in the programs that we're delivering. So one of our favorites, Flexible Family Assistance and Homeless Prevention Diversion Program. The Homeless Prevention and Diversion, the Homeless Outreach and Prevention Team administers the Homeless Prevention and Diversion Program, or HPDP, which provides financial assistance to Temecula residents at risk for experiencing homelessness. There are other qualifiers as well, but so this support covers expenses such as rent, security deposits, mortgages, and utilities. Additionally, for this fiscal year, we are so grateful that the council allocated $140,000 to create the Flexible Family Assistance Program. And we're just beyond grateful and so proud to be delivering this program to our community. Patrice will talk more about it, but it's designed to bridge the gap to immediate local shelter solutions for our most vulnerable residents. And we focus on households that include children in their household, and also, again, the most vulnerable, which we define as seniors, veterans, disabled individuals, and those fleeing domestic violence. Using motels and rapid rehousing funds, this program offers transitional support, connecting participants to permanent housing while helping them stabilize their lives. So we just launched this. Patrice is going to talk more about it, but we just launched this in November. We've already kept multiple families, in their houses over the holidays, and specifically one of them, a family was fleeing domestic violence and had turned everywhere. And we called every place you could think of that you could call, and everyone, they kept getting, call back in 2 weeks. Call back on Wednesday. They can come for an intake. And meanwhile, how many children did they have? 2 children and a mom, all by themselves, with nowhere to go. And we were so grateful that we were able to say, tonight, you're going to a motel, and we are right here with you until you're in permanent shelter. And we were able to connect them to the transitional living, so it's going to give them long-term shelter through Project Touch. And we expect to see a lot more examples like that. Skipped it. So data evaluation and strategic planning is a huge part of what we do. The city remains committed to ongoing program evaluation and measuring our outcomes, ensuring the best quality of life for all of our residents regardless of housing status. Now, while we may at times diverge from regional trends, it's done intentionally. Not to be contrarian or because we believe that we can solve homelessness alone. We know we can't. We fully acknowledge the complexity of this issue and aim to address it thoughtfully and effectively while remaining in line with our Temecula values. And this is why we prioritize data collection, evaluate our methods, and adjust where and when needed. So community business and education and response. Our staff provides community education on homeless prevention, available services, and effective ways to connect individuals to resources. We also offer guidance on how residents and businesses can respond to homelessness in their neighborhoods and ensure businesses receive the support they need to address the impacts homelessness has on their businesses. Additionally, we're the ones responding to your community reports and notifications and interacting with the community in that way too. So finally, we have our census and counts. The city conducts an annual homeless census that focuses on understanding the local population and identifying its specific needs. Additionally, the city participates in all point-in-time counts or PIT counts, which has recently transitioned from being held annually to being held every other year. And the next PIT count is scheduled for next week, bright and early at 5 a.m. on January 22nd. And so on that note, I will now transition to the results of our most recent census. So the city of Temecula recently conducted a homeless census over 2 days, November 20th and 21st. The census focused only on the city of Temecula, aiming to better understand and address the needs of our local unhoused population. So, we'll kind of briefly go through some of these high-level updates, but basically through this process, we identified 50 unique individuals experiencing homelessness in the city of Temecula. In 2023, we surveyed 56 individuals, and this reflects a 10% reduction in the amount of people currently experiencing homelessness in our city. So additionally, 66% experience mental health issues. 76% report regularly using substances, and only 24% of those believe that use impacts their housing status. 88% report a history of arrests. 46% report Temecula as their last permanent residence. 74% report being homeless in the city of Temecula for more than a year. And unfortunately, a big theme we saw and we continue to see day in and day out is that many of the participants in the survey that we already know, they express continually a preference to remain outside rather than seek shelter or housing. So here you will see our census and pit count outcomes since 2017. So you'll see the census numbers are in orange, pit count numbers are in blue. As you can see, we continue to see a decrease in the number of unhoused individuals in Temecula year over year, which we believe demonstrates that we're on the right track. And revisiting the localness of the issue, our data, as we said before, reveals that 70% of those surveyed have been homeless in the city of Temecula for more than a year. 64% reported their last permanent address as being in the Temecula Valley region, and 70% within Riverside County. So while we do see transient individuals from other areas, these findings show that homelessness in Temecula is largely a homegrown issue rather than an influx from outside areas. And then also revisiting what we discussed about mental health issues. So of those surveyed, 66% reported having been diagnosed with a mental health condition of some sort, and 76% report issues with substance use. These findings highlight a strong and measurable link between chronic unsheltered homelessness, substance use, and mental illness. And these challenges significantly impact a person's willingness and ability, unfortunately, to engage in their own recovery and pose major, major barriers to achieving stability. Also, it's important to note that this data is self-reported and the actual numbers are likely much higher. For example, during the census, I spoke with one man who he reported he has no mental health issues and then later said, oh, well, I do hear voices, but only in one part of my head, and if I walk fast enough, I can kind of outrun them. And it's heartbreaking. Like, how do you get someone to want to go to treatment who says they don't need treatment, they just need to walk fast and stay outside? And, as heartbreaking as it is, we also have people that we know that we've worked with for years who, after 5 years of having that disconnect and telling us over and over again they don't even want a bottle of water, just suddenly one day they say, yeah, let's go get treatment. So it's heartbreaking, it's hard, it's continually challenging because of these issues, but it's worth sticking with it, and we are seeing outcomes. So kind of on that same theme, perception versus reality. So while 24% of those surveyed did say that they believe their substance use does not, only 24% said that they believe their substance use affects their ability to sustain housing. They also, 80% of them did report that they had a history of arrests. So this contrast highlights a potential disconnect between self-perception and the broader impact of untreated addiction on housing stability and retention, and emphasizing the need for targeted interventions and education. So of those who reported a history of arrests, offenses included theft, drug-related charges, trespassing, resisting arrest, and assault, many of which can be linked to untreated mental illness and addiction. These untreated issues not only destabilize the lives of those experiencing them, but also have a profound impact on the overall quality of life in our community. So now we'll talk a little bit about our key takeaways that we had from the census. So expanding service connections, and the big issue here is that we discovered nearly 20% of our population, our unhoused population, does not have medical insurance, and all of them are qualified. So that is it's such a good example of like what we can discover during these censuses. So we didn't know that, we know that now, and we're already working on how to make that connection. Addressing mental health and substance use, recognizing that mental health challenges and addiction are significant hurdles to individuals getting help they need. We have to prioritize addressing these issues. And that's going to include developing targeted interventions, educational programs to bridge the disconnect between addiction, perception, and its real impacts on housing and stability. And working with our existing partners to kind of just like refine some of our messaging and exactly what we're communicating to the population. Fostering community awareness along the same lines. To build trust and strengthen relationships, we must foster community awareness of the root causes of homelessness, both to prevent more homelessness, to increase compassion, to understand the best way to respond. So we've focused on community awareness for a long time, but we're kind of like refining exactly what we're focusing on and what we want to communicate based on what we've learned. So with that foundation, I'm going to hand it over to Patrice, who will share the outcomes of our efforts and provide insights into the progress we've made.
Good evening. My name is Patrice Brown, and I've worked with the city since 2011. Raised in the Temecula Valley, I am now part of the Homeless Outreach and Prevention team, focusing on impact mitigation and financial assistance programs. I am pleased to share the outcomes of our program and highlight the impact of our collaborative efforts. In 2024, between SWAG and city staff, we successfully assisted 135 individuals in exiting the streets. Since Homeless Outreach staff began tracking SWAG success in 2021, there has been 402 street exits. The Homeless Prevention and Diversion Program, HPDP, provides financial assistance for rent, mortgage, and utilities to Temecula residents that are experiencing or at risk for homelessness, funded by CDBG. Currently, there is $1,000 of funding left for the fiscal year. Staff has expanded $6,675 of CDBG funding thus far. Homeless Outreach staff were able to assist 3 households, including 6 adults and 8 children, with HPDP assistance to sustain and obtain permanent shelter solutions. For Flexible Family Shelter Assistance, as mentioned before, we launched the Flexible Family Assistance Program in November 2024. In December, Homeless Outreach staff assisted 6 households consisting of 7 adults and 9 children in ending or preventing homelessness. 3 of these households included individuals with disabilities. Since the program's launch on November 14th, 2024, we have expended $41,209 in funding. Calling for assistance remains steady, with many households seeking low-income or affordable housing. With continued inflation and rising housing costs and very few local shelters options for households with children, we expect the need to increase. Large-scale cleanups. Thanks to a new expedited cleanup process, we were able to successfully coordinate 2 large-scale cleanups. Oh, did I skip it? Up top. Sorry. Impact mitigation. In April 2024, we began working with a new local contractor, resulting in a significant improvement in turnaround time. The contractors have efficiently cleared dangerous and unhealthy encampments while following essential guidelines to ensure fair treatment for everyone. These procedures also aim to protect personal belongings, showing respect for those impacted. Large-scale cleanups. Thanks to a new expedited cleanup process, we were able to successfully coordinate 2 large-scale cleanups addressing large cleanups on private property, addressing immediate threats to public safety, ensuring a safer environment for the community. The location was Business Park Drive, 88,000 pounds of trash, which is 440 cubic yards, and more than 22 dangerous and unhealthy encampments were cleared. Another location was Empire Creek. We had 4 encampments and 16 trash areas were cleared with a total of 102 cubic yards of trash removed from the site, which is close to highly trafficked public spaces and known for criminal activity in that area. This concludes my slides and the outcomes I've covered. Next, we'll be hearing from Lieutenant Pearson, who will be providing us with the RSO updates. Thank you.
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Team, City residents, good evening. I can't say enough good things about the work being done by this group of people. I'd like to briefly talk about Proposition 36. Proposition 36 overwhelmingly passed in the November 2024 election. This measure rolled back some of the reforms contained in Proposition 47, which was the 2014 voter-approved measure that reduced penalties for most drug possession crimes and petty theft. The measure comes amid an increase in high-profile smash-and-grab robberies and the fentanyl crisis. For clarification, Proposition 36 will do these 3 things. First, it increases criminal punishment for drug and theft-related crimes. Second, it creates a new requirement that people arrested for drug possession crimes be either sent to drug rehabilitation facility or state prison. Third, it requires that the court to warn people convicted of selling or providing illegal drugs to people that they can be charged with murder if they keep doing so and someone dies. From a law enforcement perspective, the passage of Proposition 36 enhances the ability of our deputies to enforce laws related to these offenses, leading to more severe penalties for these offenders. Addressing quality of life concerns within the community remains one of our top priorities. Another significant change introduced in 2024 is the requirement that trespass letters, or 602 letters as they are more commonly referred to, now be notarized. This update ensures that property owners and managers follow a more formal and standardized procedure when barring individuals from their properties, helping to eliminate ambiguity and potential misuse of the trespass law. The notarization adds a level of legal integrity to the process, ensuring that individuals who are issued trespass warnings are properly informed and that the letters are legally enforceable. This change, in conjunction with Proposition 36, reflects a broader trend towards refining and enhancing law enforcement practices in California. Together, these reforms seek to create a fair, more rehabilitative criminal justice system, while also ensuring that property rights are respected and upheld in a legally sound manner. Thank you.
Looking ahead, first and foremost, like we mentioned, we have our pit count next week. And then we touched on the things that we want to focus on this upcoming year that include expanding service connections, specifically getting medical coverage, addressing mental health and addiction issues, and really focusing on specifically helping to bridge that gap of that disconnect of how it's impacting the individual's outcomes. And then increasing outreach in that capacity. So kind of like refocusing some of our outreach to just really go heavy on the relationship building, really focus on actually just speaking about mental illness and addiction openly. Like, we see what you're struggling with. So we're all working together, we're collaborating to really strategize in that area. And then additionally, like we said, fostering that community awareness, once again, with specific things in mind. You know, always focusing on how do you report, how do you help, what are the ways to help that actually help and the ways that actually hinder, but also really with prevention in mind, long-term prevention, also just, again, saying it, addiction impacts homelessness. It just does, and we don't want to skirt around it, and that's part of what we want to focus on with our community awareness. Funding, we're continuing to explore new funding opportunities. Many of them are not good fits for us because they require a lot of things that don't align with our Temecula values, including reducing enforcement, halting cleanups. And while it would be great to get those funds, we just can't answer to the rest of our community and make those calls. So, but we're not gonna stop. We're continuing to look for funding. Specifically, we're looking at things that can, you know, help clean up waterways and environmental impacts of these encampments and things like that. Fire risks. So kind of trying to be a little more creative in what funding streams we're looking for now. And then we want to continue to bridge that gap, which we made a huge impact this year with that $140,000 for the flexible family assistance. But basically we discovered that there aren't really local options for families for tonight. You know, maybe you can get them into transitional living, something else that can be local, but typically families have to leave the area. And while McKinney-Vento covers the cost of transporting the children back, most parents aren't going to put their kids on a bus at 5 a.m. from Riverside to get down to their Temecula school, even though we know how important that educational continuity is. So we're going to continue working on that and exploring other ways to connect people to those flexible, immediate shelter solutions. And with that, that concludes our presentation, and we're here for questions.
Thank you very much, Lacey,
Thank you.
Patrice, and Vic. I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues for any comments or questions. Councilmember Alexander?
Well, you guys are amazing. I tell you that every time you guys come up here, and I am so appreciative of the compassion approach that all of you, and I mean that all of you, the entire team, as one, really portrays not only to the individuals, but their families, just to everybody across the board, and your hearts are definitely shown. And it's this type of job that you guys are doing, it's not just clock in, clock out. I know you guys have a lot more that you put into it that maybe not everybody sees. And so I just want to say thank you for that, for going that extra mile, whether I'm calling you, whether the city's calling you. I'll get into a little bit about, you know, just one of the recent phone calls that just because I had made from somebody in a shop, a local shop had called me, we were able to help somebody. So thank you, seriously, to all of you. I know I had done a video this last year, and sometimes it's trying to find this fine line, I think, sometimes between that compassion and making sure that we have the quality of life. And again, I want to say that I believe our city does an excellent job at that. I know there's lots of hours put into having conversations to make sure that people get the help that they're needed and making sure that they're getting the hand up and not just only hands out. And that is something that I just want to, again, applaud the city and the team for doing, because it's a constant work and a constant battle to make sure that we're doing what we're doing, and we're seeing it in the numbers. We're seeing over the years our numbers drop, so hats off to all of you. You touched on mental illness. You know, obviously, we'll talk about Care Solace next week a little bit, but this is that opportunity, again, for people without coverage to get the mental help that they're needing, that the city has now provided for at least a year contract. So, you know, again, city's doing a great job with that, doing everything they can. And, you know, a lot of things people are talking about, too, is beds. What are we doing with beds? And again, I'm just giving a brief overview. This has been I've had a lot of compassion and just passion for this area, for individuals who are struggling with homelessness. But we do such a great job that we have, I believe it was 6 beds in Paris or somewhere around that, where we had an opportunity, myself and Councilmember Stu went up to Paris, I think it was, and we were able to see one of the ladies that you were kind of talking about. She was on the street for 15 years. And finally just said, okay, I'm ready. And we had the opportunity to talk to her, and she was the sweetest thing ever, and she was so thankful for the life change because you guys were consistent and continue to reach out. Let me see. just to reach out, one of the notes here as well, I'm just about to wrap up, but the HPDP that you were talking about with the funds that we had been able to present to the public is, again, that compassion part. And if I can just give a brief story what happened, I got a call from a store owner, I think it was last week, about a family who was living in their car with a 2-year-old. And he knew I was a city council member here, and he's like, is there any way that we can get help? He's like, I want to give this man a job, but they have nowhere to go. Tomorrow, their hotel vouchers are out. They have nowhere to go, and I think they were in a hotel for a couple weeks, but car and hotel. You guys literally jumped in and got him a house, I think, right away, if I'm correct. So it saved a family from separating from CPS and gave a family an opportunity for this man to step up and get a job and continue to be able to work and provide for his family. So great job again. I want to also shed some light. I don't think this has yet been brought up to anybody in the council. Something I've been working with a little bit with our staff as we're looking at the possibility of bringing this forward. We're still talking to the city attorney about looking at a public-private partnership to bring in funding from different organizations. We did have a wonderful meeting with the hospital. There's still conversations happening with that right now and what that would look like. But I think this is a great opportunity for the community to come together to wrap their arms around each other, bring quality of life for everybody, our businesses, and at the same time making sure that we have cleanups available and moving forward. So just to put that on everybody's radar, that's kind of where we've been at. And the last thing I have as a statement is the pick count. So I am going out at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm just throwing it out to the 4 of you, if you would like to join, or anybody. Can anybody join on these things, or how does it work?
So this year we did opt to exclude just the broader public from the volunteers because we have so many people here that are already involved and already engaged, like yourself, in what we're doing. Additionally, we've noticed in the past, and a lot of our outreach workers through SWAG, they have lived experience, and they have acknowledged that sometimes it feels a little voyeuristic when you just have a lot of people coming along and they want to see and they want their pictures, and so we are doing just pretty much like who's already involved.
In-house type thing. Okay, sounds good. Yeah. So I'm just excited to see what those numbers are going to bring from the last one that you guys have for the pick count. So the last thing is not even a statement, but it's a question, if you can answer this. If we have an individual who we can say is driving by and there is a cleanup or an encampment that they are seeing on the roads, and we know they all pop up in different areas, who do they contact? How do they reach out? And or if we have a transient maybe situation where he's just laying out on the sidewalk, what is their best route to be able to get the help that they need and the quality of life to be able to get better here in the city?
So that's a great question. First and foremost, if anything seems like an emergency, please call 911. So, I mean, and it sounds surprising, but we have actually had emails that say something like, a person is passed out in the middle of a crosswalk on a major street. Like, that's not an email notification, So if you feel threatened, if you think someone else is threatened, please just don't hesitate, call 911. Second, if it's something that is related to active criminal activity happening, but isn't necessarily an emergency, we would prefer that you utilize the non-emergency number. And this, because when you use the city apps for notifications, they're not hearing about it. The other thing that I didn't know about this until Lieutenant Pearson educated me on it was that using the non-emergency number, it involves dispatch and it protects the deputies as well. Because when they're responding to someone just saying, hey, deputy so-and-so, can you go check on this? If something happens and they have to use a weapon or, they get assaulted, why were they there? So so 911, non-emergency. And then when it comes to something like an encampment, let's say, or what you think is an encampment, something like that. There's multiple ways. You can use the city app. You can just call City Hall, and they know how to get us. They know who to connect you to. They can give you our direct email. But we have a really dialed-in, expedited process now, and we're really grateful for that. So please let us know when you see those. We can respond quickly. Most of the time, we can respond same day now. And then, was there another avenue that I
I
missed?
think you nailed it.
Okay.
Great job. Thank
Oh,
you,
and then
guys.
if you just know someone that needs help,
Yes.
just still, again, you can always go straight to just the main number with City Hall. On our website, it shows our outreach numbers, it shows SWAG's number.
You guys are doing great. Thank you
Thank
for
you
all
so
your hard
much.
work. Thank you.
Directors, anything else?
I'll just keep it short and sweet. I know we're all grateful for city staff, SWAG, our UHS, and our core team. I understand how difficult it is with the resource resistance and them wanting to remain outside. So you said accountability paired with empathy, and I think that was the perfect way to put that. As well as the educational continuity. I think that's huge, and all of my colleagues agree that keeping those kids that have they could be displaced out of Temecula, keeping them in Temecula by any means is what we prefer. I know you guys work hard and are diligent at trying to do that. And like you said, it's heartbreaking, it's challenging, but you stick with it. We appreciate you for it. And we see these numbers on the spreadsheet here, and you need to think, like, we need to look past the numbers, and it said 17 kids were prevented from being homeless. You know, it's easy to just look at that and go, oh, it's 17, but it's like, those are 17
That would
children
have been
living-
outside.
Yes, exactly. So we are so grateful for everything that you guys do, and thank you very much.
Directors, anything? Director Ron?
So I got my traditional, I know you guys have missed this, but I've got a list. So a couple of quick questions. So year over year, we've got roughly 8 years now of data since programs were more or less formalized by, 2017, right?
Yeah.
And then we have drops in the homeless population along that period. We also have surveys that are conducted at the pit counts and through the city's own, resources. Can you first question is, are the surveys standardized
Good question.
across those 8 years or so?
So the pit count largely is standardized. There have been some adjustments over the years, but mostly it is like what you see on a census website about like demographics. They're really focusing on things like that. So with our local focus census, we can ask anything we want, and we change it. So we do focus year over year. We're asking where was your last permanent residence? Things like, do you deal with mental health issues? But we can tweak it, so we can notice like, hey, only 10% are saying they deal with addiction. What if we asked, do you ever overuse substances? All of a sudden the numbers go up. Then we say, do you have addiction? You know what I mean? So we can play with it a little bit with the census.
Okay.
But the pit count, totally standardized.
So the reason I ask is because I think at this point there's a large enough, sample size where, something meaningful could come out of that sort of trend analysis and I think also a sensitivity analysis, right? And we're putting a lot of resources financially into different parts of what we think are potential solutions to, addressing homelessness in Temecula. I think we're probably ready to identify through some, a little bit more rigorous review of the data, like the bang for your buck. What resources, staffing, whatever it is, programs are having the most impact? Which do we think have kind of leveled off, and which are maybe trending in the wrong direction? Like we're just no longer seeing value from that particular service or resource, and to be able to tie that back to some of the pit count numbers, the surveys, I think there's some important things that we can glean from that, and there's a couple of reasons why I think it's important. One is first, and I don't know if this is a possibility or not, but I would assume a lot of issues with self-reporting error on this, right? People are providing fairly sensitive information about themselves in a compromised situation, right? And so one of the concerns that comes up is, how honest are you being with us when you talk about, addiction or how long you've been homeless or, whatever the questions in the survey may be, right? And especially when the question I saw, on one of the slides and in the report had to do with convictions and, past history. How honest are they being, and have we ever compared those survey numbers to actual records, to kind of get that, sort of feel for,
Yeah.
you know,
No.
is it a self-reporting error, or is it, you know, are we getting real data that, you know, are reflective of the population? You know, little things like that I think could be pretty insightful. The other reason I bring it up is because, and you had mentioned, you know, Prop 36, Grants Pass v. Johnson, you know, all of these things have recently passed and have removed some of the legal, I think, ambiguities that have tied the hands of local government to enact what in a lot of cases were just common sense measures and solutions, right? Now that proposition has passed and Grants passed and the Supreme Court decision, you know, have passed, there's probably a threshold here now because, you know, California is an unfortunate pendulum that goes from, you know, different ideas of how to deal with social issues, right? And so we're moving in a different direction now than we have been for the last 10 years. And I would expect to see dramatic changes in the homeless population over that time. So, you know, but if we don't track that data, if we don't collect that, and we don't understand how new opportunities have emerged, you know, I don't want to have the city be in a place, you know, 10 years from now where we're arguing with our legislature over, you know, stupid new laws that have come down the line that, you know, are going to erode, you know, what the city has accomplished here today. And not have the ability to speak to that from, you know, a data perspective and say, look, these programs have worked, you know, and so I think now's the time to kind of go through that. And so, you know, I bring all that up to say, you know, Mr. City Manager and you know, colleagues here, you know, could we work with this group, and I don't mind, you know, lending a hand on this, but maybe put together a plan to do some of this analysis, to look at this a little bit more rigorously, and to, you know, kind of bring back, you know, a bit of a more in-depth look at the progress that has been made and where maybe we can, you know, have the best benefit from additional resources. So, and then my last comment had to do with coordinating, as we were talking earlier about fire issues and vegetation management and some of the urgency along that. You know, a student of mine last year had done a research paper on homeless encampments in a portion of Riverside County, I think mostly near Corona, and risk of fire and so forth. And it was a very compelling study. It's nothing that fire and police aren't already aware of. But, you know, I just put it out there that as we're engaging in this space of doing more aggressive vegetation management and fuel, you know, clearing in the city, that we, you know, sort of work with you all as well to identify those areas that, you know, are high risk for homeless encampments and fire as well.
And that's specifically why we did conduct that process update to cleanups to expedite it, was fueled by the fire risk of those particular sites.
Yeah, no, it's amazing work, and I'm just so thrilled to see the numbers are still trending downward, and it's just a testament to all the hard work you all have been doing, and appreciate that.
Thank you.
Director Stewart, anything? All right. Just a few things. Thanks for the presentation. I did appreciate you listing off staff members, 3 city staff, 3 SWAG, 8 core, and Lieutenant Pearson. That's 15 individuals that are dedicated to this. Not including, you know, our regional partners, right? Like, you know, the health systems and even our cleanup contractors who are clearly doing like wonderful work in the community, right? When we talk about the encampment cleanups, I think that's one of the more tangible things that you can see like in the community, right? And I think in the future, I'd like to see how many football stadiums or swimming pools or wine barrels is that? Because when you say like hundreds of yards,
I like that idea.
I think I had to look it up, like the average dumpster is like 5 or 6 yards, right? So if you see like a dumpster behind a business, that's 5 yards. If we did 100 yards worth of debris, like that's just sort of mind-boggling, right? But it's those things that you're doing that are really impacting the quality of life for the residents in our community. So I thank you for that. I appreciate the data-driven solutions, and I actually I printed this up and I have it in my office, and there's a few subcommittees that I know I'm going to be bringing this to, so we can kind of lean on that, you know, over the years when we're updating this and really having, you know, not just the numbers, but Mayor Kalfas talked about it, when you actually start putting faces to these numbers and these are people and having compassion for that. So I've never been more confident in the direction of this program, and it's because of you all, under the direction of Director Russo and everyone that's involved in this. I really, really appreciate everything you're doing for the community, so stay the course. Thank you.
We truly appreciate your support. Like, we're so grateful that we get to work at a city like this where we can actually just continually evaluate, change, make an impact, keep the community safe. We're all of us are so grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, General Manager, oh, I'm sorry, Director, anything else this evening?
Nothing else. I just want to echo, we're really fortunate to work in a city that has been bold enough to do what works and not what is trendy or popular or expedient. So, and I truly believe that's at the heart of our success. And one of the most striking statistics I noticed was that as our numbers, our homeless census numbers, our PIT counts have continued to decrease, our street exits have steadily increased every year. So it's not that the problem is getting smaller. We're getting better and better at dealing with that. And I believe it's, as Lacey said, due to our ability to pivot, analyze, assess what's working, what's not, constantly change, under the support and direction of a council that is willing to be bold and take actual steps to try to fix a problem. So thank you for that.
Wonderful, thank you. General Manager, anything?
Nothing further. Great presentation, and thank the City Council for your ongoing support in this area. Appreciate it.
All right, Board of Directors, anything? All right, with that, I'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting to our next meeting on January 28th.
I will call to order the successor agency to the Temecula Redevelopment Agency. Madam City Clerk, please note that we are all still here. Do we have any public comments on non-agenda items? With that, we will move on to our consent calendar. Item number 13, approve action minutes of December 10th, 2024. Item number 14, approve recognized obligation payment schedule and administrative budget for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, ROPS 25-26. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar? And that motion passes 5-0. Do I have an executive director report?
Nothing further tonight.
Board of director reports?
Nothing.
I will adjourn the SARTA meeting. We have no Temecula Housing Authority meeting, and we have no Temecula Public Finance Authority meeting, so I will reconvene the Temecula City Council meeting. We have one business item tonight, which is item number 15, consider appointments to city council committees for calendar year 2025. Madam City Clerk, can I get a staff report, please?
Yes, I will be brief. It is that time of year again where at the beginning of the year, we ask council to go ahead and consider its standing committees and its ad hoc subcommittees and its representative assignments out in the region. Mr. Mayor, we would request that you facilitate a council dialogue to go line by line on the current city council committee assignment sheet to indicate who will be serving in these positions in the next calendar year. We are also proposing 3 new subcommittees: the Auto Dealer Ad Hoc Subcommittee, the LA 28 Olympics Ad Hoc Subcommittee, and the Winchester Community Plan Ad Hoc Subcommittee, while we are recommending the deletion of the Service Level Assessments Ad Hoc Subcommittee, as well as the County Center Drive Development Ad Hoc Subcommittee. All items were shown in the agenda packet and are also before you on the dais in highlight or strikeout. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam City Clerk. With that, we will go line by line. And we'll start at the top, Commission Liaison. These ones are all one member. Community Services Commission. Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to stay on that?
Let me ask, Schwenk, do you want to do that, or?
I don't really care which one I do. I mean,
I'll stay on it,
yeah,
if that's
yeah,
okay.
I don't mind.
Old Town Local Advisory Committee.
I'll stay on it.
Planning Commission, I can stay on that. Traffic Safety Commission?
Could I back up?
Absolutely.
Do you want, because aren't I the VP for Community Services?
You can take it if you
So it
want.
would make more sense if I took that.
Okay.
So let me do that, and then if you want to take my Traffic Safety Commission,
Okay,
liaison.
I'll do that.
Do that.
All
You
right.
do that.
So Councilmember Stewart to do Community Services Commission.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Alexander to do Traffic Safety Commission.
Okay.
And moving on to the Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission. Councilmember Ron, would you like that one? Sure. Councilmember Ron. All right, moving on to our standing committees. First, we have the Arts and Cultural Affairs Subcommittee. If anyone is dying to be on that, I can step off.
Oh, I'd like to be on that one.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think we're doing a lot of good work with public art, so I'll stay on.
All right, Schwenk and Ron for that one. City Sustainability Program Subcommittee, Calvis and Stewart.
I'd like to stay on it, but
I as well.
yeah.
Anyone else? All right, E-Government and Temecula Outreach Subcommittee, Alexander and Schwenk.
I'm happy to hop off that if someone wants it.
I'll stay on.
All right, we'll both stay on.
All right, that sounds like a resounding bunch of excitement for that committee. Jeez
Everybody
Louise, no
wants that.
offense to anybody that ever has to go to that meeting.
All right, next up, the Economic Development Subcommittee. That is Calvis and Stewart. I would like to stay on that unless someone's dying to get on there.
Could I jump on that one?
Sure.
Yes, sir? Okay.
All right, so that one will be Calvis and Alexander. Next up, we have the Old Town Steering Subcommittee, Alexander and Schwenk.
Yeah, I'd like to stay on that.
Unless somebody completely wants it, I like that one. We've been able to do some good work. It's
All right,
up
that
to you
one-
guys though.
that one-
Matt, Ron, I know you're kind of brand new. Do you want to jump on that one or you're good?
No, I'm good.
You're good, okay.
All right, we'll leave that as is. Finance Subcommittee, Calvis and Stewart.
I'd like to get on that one if I could.
You want to stay on that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll do Stewart and Ron for that one, Finance Subcommittee. Infill Land Use and Project Review Subcommittee, Schwenk and Stewart.
I'm happy to hop off that if someone wants that.
I definitely want to stay.
I'd like to jump on that one if I could.
Stewart and Ron for Infill Land Use. Infrastructure Beautification Subcommittee, we have Alexander and Stewart.
Either way, I don't mind staying on it, but if somebody really wants to jump in that, I'm okay with that.
I'll stay on it if
You're good.
no one else wants on.
You're
Okay.
good. Okay.
We will leave as is. Joint City Council TV USD Subcommittee. I would like to be on that if either of you want to hop off.
I'd like to stay on that one for one more year at least, if possible.
Yeah, I'm fine getting off that. You guys can meet, or not meet, because we never meet. So.
We did, we had one meeting.
One meeting.
We had one
One
meeting.
meeting in 4 years.
Alexander and Calvis will be on that one. Military Subcommittee, Alexander and Schwenk.
I'd like to stay on that.
I'd like to stay on that one.
Stay as is. Move I-15 through Temecula Valley Southwest Elected Collaborative Subcommittee, Schwenk and Stewart.
I would like to stay on that just because I'm on RCTC. Well, I might be on RCTC, but yeah.
I'm fine jumping off that if,
Okay.
Matt, if you want that.
Yeah, I'd like to get on that one, please.
All right, we'll do Stewart and Ron. Parks and Rec and Community Services Subcommittee, Alexander and Schwenk.
Yep, I want to stay there.
Councilmember,
Why don't I do it since
You want to
it's
take that?
part of my wheelhouse?
Take your wheelhouse.
Got it.
All right.
Schwenk and
miss you.
Stu. Public Works Subcommittee, Alexander and Stewart.
I'll stay on that one if I can.
If no one else, I'll stay on it. I'm good with that.
As is. Surplus Lands Act Subcommittee, Calvis and Stewart.
I'd really like to be on that one.
I'd like to stay on it if I,
Stewart and Ron it is. All right, moving on to our representative assignments, meet in person as needed. Animal Shelter Liaison / JPA Representative. I can continue that one if no one wants it. We would just need to add an alternate, or if someone wants it.
Do they meet or have you?
We met twice. I was able to do one Zoom and one in person. So it was twice throughout the whole last year.
Do they have a specific day that they meet?
No,
Okay.
they may, but I don't believe so. It just came up as is.
Okay, I can be an alternate if you need.
All right. Calvis as main, Alexander as alternate. League of California Cities voting delegate. We will do Calvis and Alexander unless otherwise. National League of Cities voting delegate, Calvis and Alexander. Pechanga Tribal Council representative. I would like to be on that if possible.
Yeah, and I'd like to stay on that.
Given that it's like the whole south end of my district, I'd really like to be on that one if I could. So, yeah.
Schwenk and Ron it is.
All
Rancho California Water District Liaison, Alexander with alternate Schwenk.
I'd like to stay on that one.
I'll go as alternate.
Perfect.
Southwest Riverside County Energy Authority, JPA, Schwenk and Stewart.
I'm good if someone else wants it.
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor, can I
Yes.
interrupt just for a second? Because I
Absolutely.
want to make sure I'm capturing this correctly. So for Pachanga, I have Schwenk and Ron,
Correct.
okay? And then for Rancho California Water District,
Alexander with an alternate is Ron.
Stewart.
Oh, Stewart.
Stu.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Good thing you went over that. All right, where were we? Southwest Riverside County Energy Authority, JPA, Schwenk and Stewart.
I'm fine jumping off if somebody wants it. You want it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Stewart and Ron. Temecula Sister City Liaison, Schwenk and Stewart.
I'd like to stay.
Yeah, I would too.
Remains as is. Now, some big ones. The representative assignments meet in person regularly. Currently, Stewart, you are 4 out of 5, so we'll see how this goes here. First
Somebody
up,
likes meetings in Riverside.
Right.
it's that
Not really, but.
he loves that 15-215 interchange there.
Right.
All right, first off, we'll do the Western Riverside County Regional Conservation Authority, RCA. Currently Stewart with an alternate Schwenk.
Well, here's my opinion. Whoever takes RCA has to take WRCOG because they're the same day, an hour and a half away, apart from each other.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna stay, I'd want both or neither. So
All right, I'm gonna jump in on that one.
you're gonna take them both?
I'll take them both for you.
You sure?
What else am I gonna do? Yeah,
Don't you work?
I do. But that's my new job. I have some flexibility if I need to. So
Oh.
it's only once a month, so I'll make it work.
All right.
You got it.
I'll be your alternate.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'll be
I'm
calling
fine.
you every
I'm
time.
fine jumping off as alternate, so that works out perfectly.
All right, so Alexander to lead both RCA and WRCOG, with alternate being Stu. Next up, we have Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency Board. Currently is Stewart with an alternate as Schwenk.
I wouldn't mind if Stu is really stuck on the little rat, then it's all yours.
No.
Otherwise,
I'll be your alternate.
okay, fair
There
enough.
you go.
Perfect.
Put him lead.
Ron as the lead, Stewart as the alternate for RCHCA. Next up, we have RCTC.
I'd like to stay on that.
Well, you're on exec committee already, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
so
Yeah.
it's kind of like you have to.
Your hand is forced. And I
And
can
then-
remain the alternate unless anyone else wants to do the alternate.
No.
I will remain that one as is. Last up for this one, RTA, Riverside Transit Agency, Schwenk with alternate Alexander.
Yeah, I'd like to stay on that as well.
Does anybody else want to be an alternate on that one? If not, I can stay. Don't get so excited.
Stay as is, moving on.
Okay, I
You're
guess I'm
it.
there.
Tag, you're it.
All right, next up, we have the ad hoc committees, 2 members each. First, we have the Altair Property Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Schwenk and Stewart.
I'd like to stay on that.
I'm fine staying on. It's such a high-profile project. We're always bringing this stuff to full council anyway, so, but if someone wants on it, feel free, but I'm happy to stay on.
That one remains as is. Next up, the new one, Auto Dealer Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Anyone want to jump on that one? I can be on that one.
I'll do that one with you.
Kalfas and Alexander for Auto Dealer. Next up, Butterfield Temecula Parkway Properties Ad Hoc Subcommittee.
That makes sense for you and I since we're touching both sides.
I would agree.
so.
Even though there's that property being built, we never met.
What?
On that. We'll talk about that later in the subcommittee. Next up, we have the Community Service Funding Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Kalfas and Schwenk. I would like to stay on that if
Yeah.
possible.
I'm happy to stay on that, but if somebody wants it, okay.
Remains as is. Next up, we have the Diaz Property Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Kalfas and Schwenk. I'm okay hopping off that if anyone wants to hop on.
Yeah, same.
I'd like to get on that one.
If anyone else wants it, they can have it, or I'm happy to stay on with Dr. Ron.
We will do Ron and Schwenk. Next up, we have, that's for the Diaz properties. Next up, we have Franchise Agreements Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Schwenk and Stewart.
I'll stay if no one else wants it.
Happy to stay.
Yeah.
Remain as is. Next up, French Valley Parkway Interchange Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Alexander and Stewart.
I'll stay on that one if need be, unless somebody is dying for it.
Yeah, I'd like to stay too.
Okay.
Stay as is. General Plan Update Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Alexander and Stewart.
I'll stay.
I'd like to get back on that one if I could.
I would like
Okay.
to hop on that one too, unless you want to stay on it, Stu.
No, you can.
All right, you two got it.
All right, Ron and Kalfas for General Plan Update Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Next up, we have the Higher Education Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Kalfas and Schwank. If anyone else wants that, I can.
Yeah, I'm happy to stay on if no one else wants to go.
I'm sorry, which one are we on now?
We are on the Higher Education Ad Hoc Subcommittee.
I'd like to get back on that one if I could.
Schwank and Ron, Higher Education. Next up, the Hospital Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Kalfas and Schwank.
I'm happy to hop off that.
I'll jump on if I can. That'd be great.
I would like to stay on that one. Kalfas and Alexander for Hospital Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Next up, we have Human Services Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Alexander and Kalfas. I'm okay staying on or hopping off.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that. I don't think I've ever been on Human Services Ad Hoc. I don't know how often it meets, but.
Okay.
This will be the first of you guys met in the 2 years I've been on it. So we'll do Alexander and Schwank for Human Services Ad Hoc.
Here we go.
LA 28 Olympics Ad Hoc Subcommittee. I do have a suggestion, and see if you guys, how you feel about it. Have it be the mayor, mayor pro tem, and then just rotate annually, mayor, mayor pro tem.
Good.
All
I'm
right.
good with that.
So for that one will be Kalfas and Alexander. Next up, Murrieta Creek Project Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Schwank and Stewart.
I'm okay staying.
Yeah, I'm fine either way. If someone wants it, they can hop on.
How, quick question for Aaron and company. How's that going? I mean, is it the funding and all that? Is
Yeah,
that
it's actually
still-
going to happen.
Yeah.
So the feds funded phase 2, and I believe Army Corps and Flood Control are basically organizing to begin the phase 2, which will be Ranch, California, in the Murrieta Creek, north all the way up to the basin or Winchester Road. I think that'll be underway. But there's also other things that involve Murrieta Creek in terms of not just that project, but previous looking back on reimbursements and Main Street Bridge and things that we're going to have to kind of sort through with the flood control district as well.
Okay.
I could see also this sort of, leading into the detention basin conversation as well.
So that one is currently Schwank and Stewart.
Well, I would like to stay.
I mean, I'm happy to stay, but if someone's passionate about it, they can hop on. Okay.
We will keep as is. Old Town Civic Center Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Alexander Stewart.
I'd like to stay on that one.
I'll stay if no one else wants it.
Leave as is. Police Base of Operations Ad Hoc Subcommittee.
I would definitely like to stay on that.
I mean, probably best to just stay and finish what we started.
Right.
Yeah.
Remain as is. Public-Private Street Maintenance Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Kalfas Stewart. I would like to stay on that.
I would too, but if someone's bent on wanting it, I could definitely step aside, but, okay.
Remain as is. Promenade and Temecula Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Alexander Stewart.
I'm good with it. Stu?
I'm good.
Okay. Everybody else good with that?
Absolutely, as is. Public Recognitions Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Kalfas Stewart. You can keep as is unless anyone wants to be on that one.
Good too, yep.
Public Safety Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Alexander Kalfas.
I'd like to stay on that.
I'd like to get on that if I could.
I would like to stay on that one as well. We did discuss that one would be more broad based on staffing rather than meeting regularly. Is that correct?
Yeah, just to be clear, the public safety ad hoc is narrowly defined for really only those issues that pertain to staffing as it relates to maybe our fire department or maybe our police department. So it's not a catch-all for all public safety matters that would blow out the ad hoc status and become a standing meeting. So that's why it's narrowly defined.
Copy that. That is, I can step off that one, Ron, if you want to hop on that.
Yeah, please.
Alexander and Ron for Public Safety Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Roar Paw Ranch, AKA Summers Bend Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Calvis and Schwenk.
Happy to jump off that if someone's passionate about Summers Bend.
Same.
Well, since it's in my district, why don't I go there?
Yeah,
Right?
at the very least. yeah.
Yes, okay.
I'll stay on Calvis and Stewart for that one. Serafina Property Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Schwenk and Stewart.
Same thing, Stu, that's in your district.
Okay.
But I'm happy hopping off if someone, I don't even recall meeting this
I don't
past
think we
year, so,
did.
but I'm happy to stay on too.
Remain as is. Strategic Fiscal Planning Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Calvis
Mr.
and
Mayor,
Schwenk.
can I
Yes,
chime in for a second?
absolutely.
Can we just take a moment of silence for the Service Level Assessments Ad Hoc Subcommittee?
It died a
If
quick
you've
death.
never been to one of those meetings, I am so happy that this is no longer a meeting. I am so excited that this is no longer a meeting. Travis next to me was like, "What is this guy?" When I'm going, "Yes, it's gone." Okay, that's all.
There's a backstory to that. I just don't know. I'll have to hear about it later.
Yeah.
Where were we? Strategic Fiscal Planning Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Calvis and Schwenk.
I'd like to jump on that if anybody wants to step off.
Yeah, I want to stay on.
I can hop off that one.
Okay.
Schwenk and Alexander. Supportive Housing Services Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Calvis and Schwenk.
I'd like to get on that one if I could.
I would like to stay on that one.
Yeah, I'd like to stay on too. I think we kind of have a good balance right now with the way things are going. So I'd prefer to stay on, but I also understand, the desire to be on that as well. So
I agree, yeah, because we found sometimes having people with different perspectives, on a subcommittee can really become more beneficial. I agree with that.
I will say though, and our city manager, and I even said this earlier today, has done a really good job when we have items that maybe are a little more detailed or a little more involved, that the entire council is getting a one-on-one if needed or whatever. So, but I'd like to stay on.
I would like to stay on as well.
Okay.
Good with
fine.
that?
Yep.
All right, that will remain as is. Traffic Signal Prioritization Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Calvis and Schwenk. We just started that one. I'd like to keep it as is if possible.
Yeah, I would too.
Keep that one as is. Trails Open Space Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Alexander and Schwenk.
I would like to hop on that just because I'm on Community Services
Okay, I'll
Committee.
give that one over.
Yeah, happy to
guys.
stay on that for sure.
Schwenk and Stewart for Trails and Open Space. TVE2 Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Calvis and Stewart.
I'm happy to stay on it.
I as well, unless anyone's dying to be on it. Remain as is. Uptown Temecula Ad Hoc Subcommittee, Alexander Schwenk.
I'm happy staying on. If someone wants to jump on it, I'm fine with that too. But I think uptown we're going to see quite a bit
Yeah,
there. So happy
agreed.
to stay on.
All right, remain as is. And last but not least, Winchester Community Plan Ad Hoc Subcommittee.
I'd like to throw my hat in the ring on that one, for sure, since I kind of started some of that with some of the other cities and stuff, and that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd like to be on that one as well.
Go for it.
All right,
Go for it.
that one will be Alexander and Ron. And I believe that is the last of the subcommittees. Madam City Clerk, do you need any clarification, or did you get all that?
I do not. We are good to go, and we will take a motion.
Can I make a motion? I just say, I'll go ahead and move the item, and I'm always pleased with how this goes. It's very, everyone's pretty accommodating, so.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
great.
second.
Item's been first and seconded. And that passes 5-0. We will move on to items for future city council agendas. Do any of my colleagues have any items for future agendas? Seeing no, I do have one that I would like my colleagues to listen to my quick little spiel. We had youth in government prior to, right up until COVID, and that is something that I enjoyed watching off of the dais, and something that I would enjoy bringing back to City Council. So if my colleagues agree, I would just want to receive a presentation by our city staff, and then with direction to move forward after that presentation on what bringing youth in government back to the dais and City Council would look like. So with that, I will make a motion to have staff present us with a presentation on youth in government. And we will vote. Thank you very much. And that passes 5-0. Thank you to my colleagues. City Manager report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, good job on your first meeting. Just two quick items. It is Chief Crater's birthday, so I wanted to wish him a happy birthday this evening. I know he wouldn't want to spend it anywhere else but right here in a council meeting. So happy birthday, Chief. And then lastly, there was a lot of conversation about e-bikes, e-motorcycles. Stay tuned, because in 2 weeks, you'll have Captain Regali sitting right over there. And as a part of the public safety presentation, he's preparing to bring back a very thorough presentation on what's being done in the street, in the field, at the schools, with RSO, training, education, permitting, all that good stuff. So you'll get a heavy dose of e-bikes, e-motorcycles in 2 weeks. So with that, that concludes my report.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Do we have a city's attorney report?
Nothing to report. Thanks for letting me fill in for Peter while he's away. He'll be back next time.
Thanks for filling in. Welcome back to Temecula for the first time in 3 years. With that, tonight, with great sadness, we're going to adjourn this meeting in the memory of 3 different individuals who recently passed. I know there's people in the audience, people watching, and people throughout the entire community in Temecula and beyond that have been touched by the lives of these 3 individuals. And the first one being Bradley Sullivan, the Traffic Safety Commissioner for the City of Temecula. Joan Sparkman, and Deputy Timothy Corlew. May they rest in peace.